Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Crucible. I'm normally your host, Andrew Wilson, but tonight we have a slight change up as I'm going to be debating against the machine lies. But before I introduce the guest moderator, I just wanted to kind of go over what the topic is. Tonight we'll be debating about the writings of a certain man named Ted and technology. Ought to be interesting. I've seen some back and forth going on about this since this gentleman's death, and kind of saw the challenge go out for it from the Machine Lies, and I thought that we would get into it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The Dono chat link is pinned at the top. You can click that Dono chat link to send in a donation for this evening's fun, and with a super chat. You can also send in a super chat, by clicking that little fucking dollar sign. You can also become a member to the Crucible, which we would greatly appreciate. We'll be back on our regular channel beginning tomorrow. So looking forward to that, but that doesn't mean don't become a member of this channel. We still need you to be a member of this channel and that channel, right? We need you to be a member of both. So Sunday is part 2, the James True Lunatics on the Internet. That ought to be great. I've been enjoying that series, and this one's going to be a banger. Somebody got into the airship show. I'm not going to say who, but yeah, it was good stuff. So anyway, without further ado, I just want to introduce the guest mod for tonight. The guest mod is going to be Casimir. Casimir, thank you so much for filling in on such short notice. Appreciate it very much. I'm going to
You're
go ahead and
welcome.
put Kaz right back in the background, but now you guys kind of know what's going on tonight. And we'll be right back with the debaters and the debate. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Casimir, he's going to be the guest moderator tonight, as I said. A lot of people were asking in the chat already, where's Zen? I fired his fucking ass for looking at me. No, I'm kidding. He's a brand new dad, and he's backed off on some of his time on the Crucible to take care of his child, which we knew was coming. So he had told me this far in advance, before his kid was ever born, months and months before the kid was born. So just kind of business as usual. We wish him all the best and that everything is going well with that. But, family first. So kind of with that, Kaz knows what the score is, him as the acting moderator. And both of us understand the format. Machine Lies, we'll let you go first. This is your topic. And then I'll respond to that. And then that'll give you the last word when we get into closings. So Kaz, kind of keep an eye on the clock. You're looking at about an hour and 20 minutes before we move over to Collins. And I'll take care of all that on my end. I got all the toggles, all the switches. All you got to do is mod, man.
Excellent. Gentlemen, keep the fight clean. No kicking, no punching below the belt. And keep your guard up. Let's get it started.
All right, I guess that's you're up, Machine Lies.
All right. I'll just start with the basic argument that's formatted in three basic premises, and I think the audience will find that these premises are basically logical, and they follow the format of Uncle Ted's main argument here. So what we'll do here is explore these three premises. This is only my second public debate. So I guess my objective is to perform well and to present the view in the most pure way that I can possibly can. So here is premise number one. Premise number one is that the system cannot be reformed. Premise number two is that the breakdown of the system is inevitable. Premise number three is that the collapse of the system may be sudden or gradual. In order to mitigate human suffering, it is better to end the system anticipating causes of collapse. This does not mean the overthrow of governments or cultural or religious institutions as an extension of that. But really, it's the overthrow of the economic and technological basis for the present society. As an addendum to that argument, if the system does not collapse, it will continue to increase human suffering. We have a moral obligation, thus, in conclusion, to end the system. I'll start with some of the reasons why I find this argument to be particularly logical and some of the supporting material behind it. Um, First of all, I think it's interesting that the tools of cultural appropriation and even cultural genocide are the objective means of technological power and control. So these values that are promoted by elites, I guess a technocratic elite that is now controlling a world system, is actually the means that they use to commit this cultural genocide is actually cultural and religious genocide, because the system in place is run by through secular values. So a technological system actually is inherently run by secular values, because technology is inherently utilitarian. Any attempt to apply a moral framework or a deontological framework to a utilitarian process of means that is outside of human control is pretty foolhardy. It's an attempt to subject technique to non-technical analysis, and therefore falls short of understanding the true ends and goals of the system in place. One might ask, how are the main drivers behind the technological system? Why are they responsible for cultural genocide or religious collapse? You might say, Machine Lies, why don't you fucking prove that point? Well, I'll prove it. Just look at some of the main minds. Look at Kurzweil, Ray Kurzweil, some of the most prominent transhumanists, Yuval Harari. You look at, for example, Marvin Minsky or Ben Goetzel, who are working on AI systems for over, Marvin Minsky has been working on such systems for over 20 years. And, one of the most remarkable characteristics of these thinkers is that, A, they're not concerned with the fate of humanity. They'll commonly refer to technology as a successor intelligence. And something that's going to supersede humans. So their goals are not pure and actually quite deranged. And another characteristic of these thinkers is that they don't follow a religious lifestyle. They're not Christian. All the four of the thinkers I just mentioned are not Christian, notably. And they actually abhor religious values. They actually promote atheistic or secular values as a cultural starting point. I guess I'll go over what the definition of technology is. It's important. I don't, I don't know what that was, a glitch in the matrix. But the definition of technology is actually coming from Aristotle. So Aristotle actually invented the word technology. He combined two words. One is techne and the other is logos. Techne is the creative process to skill or craft things. And then logos is the transcendental realm of ideas that you can bring those ideas through craft, through a process called aesthesis. And this aesthesis is actually a word coined by Plato, and actually the word relates to the word aesthetic. So all technology is artificial. And as an extension of this process, once you encode a technique, you actually don't have control over what it accomplishes. It must lead you to the particular end that is encoded within that process. So we're dealing with the ends to mean process, and we're dealing with a unified system, meaning that different parts of the technological system function as a whole. That means that there is an international system in place. There is a global protocol in place in terms of international trade, in terms of international regulations, and the different parts of the technological system function as an ensemble. They're interconnected through the cities of the world. The cities are the main hub of technological innovation, but also the main hub of cultural genocide. so I don't think that's a very coincidental, but there you go. No, I'm sorry, you're muted, Casimir.
You have a minute.
Oh, I have a minute. Okay, no problem. Okay. So techne logos, that's the definition of technology we're working with. Now it's notable to understand that I'm debating a Christian worldview, and I will make it known here that there is no impetus towards technology within the Christian worldview. Actually, technology is in some senses abhorred. The use of human knowledge that escapes imagination is seen in the Tower of Babel, where man attempted to combine all languages into one, and God says, now there's no telling what their imagination is capable of. The imaginations have to be guarded against by paying awareness to the thoughts. This is the orthodox principle of self-awareness. And it basically encompasses the technological scope, because man has created one language. They've created one code in which to interpret all of their world affairs. And this is the Chat GPT, the Tower of Babel, combining all world languages into a single scope. So,
Final statement.
Hmm?
Final statement. And then.
Oh, final statement. How much technology is necessary to live a good life? Well, there is actually no technology necessary at all to live a Christian life. That's my final, I guess that'll be my final statement. I'll let Andrew go ahead.
Okay, we're ready for you, Andrew.
Okay. So I kind of listened to this babbling spiel by you, Machine Line. And you think maybe next time you could keep it a little more concise and put down a little bit more of the blunt. Anyway, I have a lot of lot to say on this issue, and I've thought a lot about it as to whether or not technology is evil or bad or whatever you want to say. If it hampers human existence in some way, then would it be better to be without it? The truth is, from a moral standpoint, I have a hard time believing anybody who is religious can possibly blame technology for anything. Human beings have the mind, an access point from God to the metaphysical, which is something so powerful. Immaterial laws called the laws of logic had to be created to govern them. Humans are the ultimate architects of destiny, not machines, not technology, not robots, not AI. All those things are absent the mind. My opponent would have you believe that technology itself is problematic, but it isn't, and it never has been. Human will is what is problematic. He'll try to tell you there's an imminent collapse coming, but an imminent collapse of what? Society? No, just a reformation of what already exists. There is nothing new under the sun. It just plays out over and over again. Are we going to be the children of a reformation? Maybe. But so what? What if technology causes a renaissance instead of a collapse? Is that still a collapse of the old society? I would argue it is, but not that it's bad. Nothing can last forever. And then ultimately, human will guides events and our free will given to us by God. I don't think the creations of man are diabolical or even evil, but rather the way our will interacts with them. The gun's a tool of liberation, it's a tool of oppression. It's a tool of defense. It's a tool of murder. The gun's a symbol of every horror you could imagine or of every freedom you can conceive of, all dependent on the wills of men. If the will of men wanes, then the technology can be used for evil, but never before that. The author, Ted, I think, was woefully misguided and jaded. He predicted imminent collapses that didn't materialize. His ramblings did go on to express some descriptive accuracy as to the left-right paradigm and how technology can be used for human enslavement, and eventually will be used that way by some people. But that's always been the case, from horseback cavalry to the Gatling gun to the microwave and electricity. Every machine, every book, every writing style, and every language has been used in the paradigm of both good and evil. Ultimately, it comes down to the will of men. The difference between myself and my opponent is I don't fundamentally think humanity is evil or the people in it. And that ultimately,
I never said humanity was evil.
did I cut you off in your opening statement?
No worries. But
Yeah. And that ultimately people mostly want to do what is right. Technology is a slave to our will and not the other way around. So machine lies premises are flawed. Premise one, the system cannot be reformed. It just begs the question of what is the system and why I should even accept what his definition of what this system even is. And premise two is that the breakdown of whatever the system is inevitable. The first two premises I reject outright. And then as to the third, the Tower of Babel was not a tale about imagination. It was a tale about rebellion. It was a tale about rebellion based on a technology, not about the imagination of its creation. So with that, I'm willing to kind of dive right into it.
that's good. So you said that the Tower of Babel is a tool about the misuse of technology. That's exactly what I'm saying. And then you said that the gun could be an ultimate tool for freedom, or it could be an ultimate tool for enslavement. That's what I'm saying. You've conceded these points that technology has a massive impact on society. But
So,
yeah, but I'd like to ask you: is the use of technology optional?
depends.
You said human beings control the use of technology.
Depends on the type of technology. If you would consider things as basic as language or things like
That's
this,
not what I'm asking. I'm not asking for a type of technology. I'm asking, is the use of technology optional?
if that's within your definition, then the answer would be no.
Okay. Then if the use is not optional, then how is it under human agency and control? You just admitted it's not optional.
You don't have to speak.
I don't have to speak.
Yeah, you don't have to speak. So, like, here's the thing: all of the usage of these things, even if you have to use something, is still within.
So you're claiming that a man could survive.
Let me finish my point.
Okay. Go ahead.
When you use a technology, it's up to you how it's used. Just saying that you must use it doesn't mean that you must use it for X purpose, evil or good.
How do you decide how a machine that's made for a particular end, whose use is designed by experts and encoded processes that you cannot comprehend on your own? How do you understand that you can use it for whatever you want? That's completely ridiculous.
I don't even understand what the fucking babble is that just came out of your mouth.
Oh my God. Am I fucking speaking Chinese? I just asked you a question. I said,
well, repeat it, but this time without the spurgery.
Okay. Okay. You want me to ask the question again?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Give me a second. So I guess the use of technology that's encoded, designed for a particular end, made by experts that you don't have the information on how they created the tools they use, and they must be guided towards a particular end, and their use is not optional. How do you decide that process is under human control? How the fuck can you not understand what I just said?
Whatever technology that you're sourcing necessarily would have to be under human control. You just said it was yourself. It's baked into the hypothetical you just gave.
No, you said it was under human control. I said the use is not optional,
necessarily,
and it's therefore not under human control.
It's necessarily baked into the hypothetical. You saying that there's invented encoded technology, which humans have created, right?
That you're they do not that no humans have not created the technology. The technology is built on interrelated parts.
Well, then give me an example of this technology.
Look, a scientist doesn't know why he's studying isopropylene methyl. He's just studying these types of things because of previous advances within the system. No single human being controls the speed and pace of technological innovation.
So what?
So how is it under human control? How is it under human control?
It doesn't mean that a singular human being must control all technological advances, or
So
anything,
you concede the point.
anything therein for it to be under human control. That's ridiculous. I don't control murder, but I would say murder is within human
You
control.
don't control murder, but
it's
you
within
said
the
that
purview
you're
of human control, isn't
So who
it?
gets blamed when somebody murders?
The person who murdered, because it's in the purview of human control for them to have not murdered, you fucking idiot.
But you just fucking said that you don't control murder, and then you said you do control it. You fucking idiot.
I said it's under the purview of human control, whether I control it or not. Humans do control it.
You said it's under the purview of human control. Here, hold on.
The individual does not have to control something for it to be under the control of other individuals, man. Do you not understand this? Tell me which part of that's a contradiction.
That's part of the problem. And that's part of the fucking problem, is that the technology is controlled by relatively few, a rule of experts.
Then it's
not
controlled.
under general human control.
Then it is controlled.
I already mentioned that. What?
So then you're actually conceding my point.
How?
Because you're saying that technology is under the control of a few humans. Okay, I can concede that there's some types of technology that likely is military technology, various technologies like this, but they are under control by humans.
But that's what matters. Those humans do not control the speed and pace of innovation.
Well, so that's absolutely not true. We have secrecy and all types of things which do slow down the speed of innovation, which has been done in the past. Now, I'll concede, though, that kind of like maybe overarchingly, you can only slow it down a little bit, maybe. But eventually, technology is going to continue on.
Secrecy is inherently not controlling a pace of innovation. If you have to be secret about technological advances, then you have to get ahead of the problem that innovation is already caused. Like, what are you talking about?
So what? That wouldn't necessarily mean that you couldn't slow it down.
Yes, it actually does mean that.
No, it doesn't. Then show me how that's a necessary entailment.
Because you don't control the speed and pace of innovation, so you have to use secrecy
you haven't demonstrated
in order to tell people.
You haven't demonstrated that it can't be controlled. Demonstrate it.
Okay. How or when do you decide who and when invents something?
How does an individual
I'll let you figure that out.
Wait, how does an individual do this?
No, how does anybody control who invents anything?
Well, let's say some guy was about to invent electricity and you walked in and shot him in the head. Would you control the invention of electricity at that point? Because that's what happened to Nikola Tesla with some of his inventions, wasn't it?
It's not based on somebody banging away and making electricity.
Yes, technology is only as good as the individual or individuals or collective who are creating it. Many things that Tesla knew,
the collective is creating it. Individuals are not creating it.
Many things, bullshit.
Technology is inherently collectivist.
There are
large-scale technologies. Hold on, large-scale technologies are inherently collectivist.
You won't even let me get a fucking point across.
No, go ahead. Wait. So we're gonna do a quick Andrew, 15 seconds, and then I'll get to machine lines.
Okay, so just so that you understand, individuals can control technology to at least some degree. There are inventors who have invented technologies who made entire like documents that people have seen and then were like murdered and things like this. That technology's never seen the light of day. Okay, so yes, this of course can happen. But ultimately what I'm expressing here is that
Andrew, let me respond.
All the technology is under the purview of human control. It's an extension of our will.
The use is not optional. It's not under human control. The scientists that have encoded the processes, you do not control those things. I'm sorry. Could you say that last point again? Because there was a bunch of babble.
Well, let's just stay right here. This will be super simple.
Gentlemen, maybe I can stop this. So I do notice a repetition in arguments. I recommend an example for me as an audience.
Okay.
Like, provide like a short example of some kind of a technological timeline of things that are not controlled. And
the use of penicillin was an accident.
Okay.
The discovery of penicillin was an accident.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. We're not controlling innovation. We're not controlling
that's a
scientific
non-sequitur.
innovation.
That's a
Scientists,
non sequitur.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I just
There's
proved a
entailment
case where we
there's
didn't
no
control the
entailment from
speed and
that.
pace of innovation. He asked for an example. I gave an example.
Yeah,
That's
what
not
did
a
he ask for?
non-sequitur.
What did he ask for an example of? Do you even
Specifically a
remember?
process.
No. Do you even remember what he asked you for an example of? Or are you so stoned you don't even remember that? What was it? What was it that he asked you for?
I
an
remember what the
example of?
fuck he asked me.
Well, what did he ask you?
He asked me an example of an innovation that we could not control.
No, that's not what he asked you.
Go ahead. Since you guys are playing this game, why don't you fucking ask me again?
What do you mean, you
moderator.
guys?
Go ahead, moderator. Ask me again.
No, I'll repeat my question. I believe the
Go
keyword
ahead.
there.
Since the moderator's asking questions, fucking weird.
I'm trying to ask questions because you guys repeated the argument several times.
Yeah, the moderator gets to ask questions. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm just suggesting that you guys go into examples of the process of control or lack of control. So
that's what I just said. I just showed you an accidental invention. That's a lack of control. What the fuck part of that didn't you understand? That is the answer to the question.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a non sequitur. So is this to say that anything which was accidentally found out, or
you said the use of technology is optional, and then you said we control it? That's a fucking non sequitur.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was all optional. The laboratory in which was made and the bread that was left out to mold and all of these things were all different options that were combined by the human being who does ultimately have control.
How do you know there were options? Do you know when they were invented, who invented them, and why they invented them?
For the specific example of penicillin, not off the top of my head. Why should I know?
You don't know about any of those things. You don't know about any of those things.
Why should I know about the specifics of penicillin? Like, that's ridiculous. What you're asking me is ridiculous. You should be able to make it logically make sense, regardless of the specific example, me not knowing all of the details of it.
Okay. Here's a fucking very easy example for you. Somebody makes something. What decided that they make it? Did they know they were going to make it before they made it?
In that specific case, they wouldn't. No, that's like necessarily baked in to the hypothetical.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's necessarily baked into the process of invention.
No, it's necessarily baked into your hypothetical.
That's why it's called innovation. It's called innovation because you don't know what's coming up next.
Oh. You just bake the answer into your hypothetical, but that doesn't.
The answer is baked in, and you can't do anything about it.
You're just equivocating. So to say that technology is outside of the purview of human will and how it's used is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The
use is not optional. You admitted that.
The use of which technology is not optional.
The use of any technology.
Wait, no, any tech. So you can't choose to not use a cell phone. Is that what you're saying?
Many people don't have that choice.
That's a totally different statement than the use of technology is not optional. Do you understand that?
It's being imposed on a large section of humanity. That means it's not optional. The other people who are not using it are even affected by the use.
So then what you actually mean is that the use of technology is not optional for some people. That's what you actually mean?
No, because everybody who's interacting with the people with cell phones is also relying on cell phones for business, for international trade.
Can you name a technology which you must use?
A cell phone is a good example.
You don't have to use a cell phone.
Why are you using one now? Why are you using one now?
Because I use one doesn't necessarily entail that I must.
You haven't proven that.
I haven't proven that I don't have to use a cell phone.
Yeah, that's just wishful thinking. It's coulda, shoulda, woulda, ought. That's not how the technological system works. It imposes its own regulations. It imposes its own speed and pace of innovation, and every technological advance is based on a previous.
Let me help you out with how fucking stupid you are. Do you watch pornography?
No, sir.
But that's a technology.
So
you have to watch it.
I am affected in society by people who use pornography. Hundreds of degenerates that you spend your time railing against people who use technology on technology, fighting the tools of cultural genocide. Laugh all you want. You spend all day doing that, and you say you control the people. You're not affected by people who use porn. You're there crying about it on the internet, and you're going to go outside and shoot some fucking chickens when you get angry because you can't do anything about it.
What? I don't think I would shoot chicken because of that.
Shut the fuck up.
You appear very hysterical. I just got to ask you again, as you're coping, must you watch porn?
You're coping with the fact that technology.
Must you watch porn?
You're affected in society by people who use
Must you
porn.
watch porn?
Do you have to protect your children from porn?
Must you watch porn?
Do you have to protect your children from porn?
I think I do, yeah. Now,
Then
answer
how
my
are you not
question.
affected by people using it?
Whether I'm affected by it or not, that's not the claim you made.
That is what you just said. You
no,
said you're
the
not
claim
affected by it.
the claim that you made was that
You
I
said
must.
You're not affected. No, the claim you made is you're not affected by people using porn.
That's
and you
not
just
what I
demonstrated you
said.
are.
I never
you have
said
to
that.
protect your children from it.
Bro, you're just
didn't say
making
that?
shit up. You're just
going
making
backwards,
shit
man.
up.
You're going backwards. You did say you're not
Making-
affected by use of porn.
No,
You
I
said,
didn't
let me show
say
you how
that.
dumb you are. You don't have to use porn, and then you said you have to protect your children from it.
Yeah,
Why do you
because
have to do that?
because sometimes when they're using technology that I allow them to use, pornography might pop up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they must.
You have to
that they-
protect them from the
but
use of
that
technology.
doesn't mean that they must use that technology.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
What
it
do you
does. You
mean?
said your children are using cell phones. You haven't demonstrated that they don't have to use those cell phones. They do have to use those cell phones to communicate with the world at large, and you have to protect them from the cultural, the dissemination of trans culture, the dissemination of porn culture on those fucking devices, because you have to mitigate
Okay.
the bad uses of the technology.
Okay. Can you answer this question for me now that I've asked you 15
Yeah, I
times?
can answer tons of questions.
Must you watch porn?
Must I watch porn?
Mhm.
I must not watch porn, but I'm affected in society by people who use porn, whether I like it or
Okay.
not.
So must you use your cell phone?
Must I use my cell phone to get a job, to sell my book, to do other activities? Yes, I do have to use my cell phone in order to live in this world. Actually, I must have to use my cell phone. If you're saying that the control or the use of cars and cell phones is optional, I mean, that's just ridiculous. We don't control who uses the
Then
nuclear
explain
plant
how the
that's
Amish
100
exist.
miles away from our
Explain how the
house,
Amish
or who's
exist,
running
then.
it. We don't
Explain how the
control
Amish exist.
we don't control the mechanisms
Then
that run
explain
the
how
nuclear
the
plant.
Amish exist.
But that's what's keeping the power on.
Explain how the Amish exist without using cell phones and watching pornography on the internet.
They're not unaffected by these changes, my
I
friend.
didn't
If
say
you
that
think
they weren't unaffected. That's a
Amish is
different claim.
isolated community
That's
that's not being
different
affected.
claim.
No. They're already
yes,
splintering on the
yes.
use of different technologies. They're being
That's
affected
a
by these changes.
different claim. Saying that you're affected by other people's usage of technology, I may not argue with that. I want to know
you don't control how you're affected
or
by it.
not you yourself must use the technology, because that's where the creaturely will comes in. So my question again to you is, how could you possibly say a person can't simply choose to never again use a cell phone? People do it all the time. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You said people must use them. A person must. You have to. That's insane. You don't have to use your cell phone.
Words are technologies. Ideas are technologies. We must use them to communicate. There is no such thing as a solitary man, or you haven't proven that there is one. You said you could not talk to anybody. That's a very bad example. Do you really think that's realistic?
There are people who don't talk to people now, take vows of silence now, all sorts of things. It's not a necessary.
How are they doing?
Necessary entailment.
Does it encourage human flourishing?
Again,
Or does it?
It's not a necessary entailment that just because the technology exists, you must use it. That's
How much
insanity.
technology is necessary to live a good life?
I have no idea. Maybe very little. Maybe
The
very little
answer is very little.
technology.
How much technology was there at the time of Jesus Christ?
Well, there was a lot of technology at the time of Jesus Christ. So,
yeah, well, he was a carpenter. They called him Tecton. In Greek.
what does that have to do with anything?
Well, they made their own things. A hammer, a bow and arrow, a musical instrument. It moves at the speed and pace of human movement, but a machine does not. There was no machines available. There was no mechanization at the time of Jesus.
There were machines that were available, and there were
Like
engines
what?
which were available. Well, a trap is a machine which uses an engine.
Yeah, and where were the factories at Jesus' time? Do you need
Well,
factories to live a Christian life?
Well, wait a second. That's a different claim again. Can you answer to my first one? Do you agree that a trap, a basic snare trap, requires an engine and is a machine?
That's not what I'm claiming. I'm claiming a trap has
okay.
a
So then on this claim in the technology that you're talking about at this time, there was technology at that time, and there were machines at that time. You just claimed that there weren't.
No, I didn't claim there
You
weren't.
did that. You did. Yes, you did.
No, I said there wasn't as much technology. Maybe perhaps you weren't listening.
No, I was
believe
listening.
that ideas. I said previously, I believe ideas and words are technologies.
Yeah, I get that you said that these things are technologies. Yeah. I'm still on the topic of whether or not they must be used.
Yeah, I'm not saying not to use. Look,
individuals can choose.
Hold on.
Not
Maybe you
technology.
don't understand the argument. Nowhere in the argument of technological collapse is that man is going to stop using technology. Man is inherently technological. There is nothing new under the sun. But guess what? We're not controlling the speed and pace of the current system. It's a global system. It's controlled by secular humanists. It's not it's committing cultural genocide, and there's a moral obligation to end the system.
Who's it controlled by?
Who is it controlled by?
Yeah,
the rule of experts.
You just said secular humans, so people, so human beings control it.
Secular humanism is an ideal. It's not.
Yeah,
people.
But you just said it's controlled by secular humanists.
Secular humanism is itself a technology.
Those are human beings.
Secular humanism is itself a technology.
Well, who's doing the controlling? You say a secular humanist, that's going to be a human being necessarily, right?
It's an ideology, my friend. Not
okay. Okay. Well, ideologies don't control shit. People with ideologies.
Ideologies don't control shit. Ideologies don't control people's minds.
Control shit.
What are you talking about? Ideologies. You can't brainwash a human being. You've never met a brainwashed human being.
People. Yes.
You've never met a brainwashed human being.
People.
Ideologies control people. That's a technology that's controlling people.
Right. So people are the ones in control then.
Ideologies function independent of people.
Yeah, where does an ideology function independently of a person? I'd like to see that. Can you demonstrate a single place where there's a fucking ideology which proliferates absent humanity? You fool! Show me a place.
The Bible.
The Bible. What? Can you show me? Can you or not?
A book, a Bible.
You think that the Bible,
book functions independent of how human beings use it?
No, that's not what the question was. You specifically claimed that ideologies can operate independent of people. How is that possible?
I gave an example. Somebody who's brainwashed.
That's not an ideology working.
That's a person. That's a person being controlled by an ideology, my friend.
It's a person being controlled by other people
who are controlling them through an ideology. It's the mediation that you're not understanding.
So this is
it's the mediation.
Nonstop.
There's an extra role of mediation. The ideology mediates from person to person. You're not understanding the rule. The rule of technology is that it mediates.
Yeah, it's mediation. Other people.
That mediation leads to loss of control. My friend. You're not understanding that.
It's all people. It's all.
You're not understanding that.
Every single link that you give me is people. The ideologies can't proliferate without
a book
people.
Is a person.
You have not. A book is not a person.
So what the fuck are you talking about?
How is a book a person?
So what the fuck are you talking about? A book is not a person, and yet it encodes ideologies.
Yeah, who writes the book? Who writes the book? A person. A person writes the fucking book. Do you understand?
What compels a person to write a book?
Who cares? The point is a person does.
A person doesn't just decide to write a book. A person decides to write a book.
I'm sure there's all kinds of influences.
He decides to use technology.
Yeah, but
and how does he invent the ideas in the book? Invention. He's not in control of the invention process, my friend.
He's not in control of what he writes in the book?
Not always.
Who's in control?
Well, if secrecy has to be used to control technological advances, then secrecy can be used to control what's in the book, my friend.
So secrecy can write books, or people write books?
Secrecy, by the way, is another technology. That's what you're not aware of.
So does
secrecy is another technology.
Does secrecy write a book, or does a person write a book?
Secrecy is a technology that's used when people release
answer
information
my
that is
question.
harmful. Not all knowledge is beneficial.
You're not
Why do you
answering my
pretend like all
question.
knowledge is beneficial?
You're still not answering my question. Does secrecy write books or do people write books?
Both secrecy, the craft of secrecy, and people write books.
What? Well, who employs the craft of secrecy if not people?
No, people are subject to secrecy as well.
Well, maybe, but they're also the architects of it. So this seems like they're full ride in control of it.
They're subject to it.
Yeah, but even if they're subject to it, they are also in control of it.
People are subject to technologies. You just
do not understand that whether it's they're subject to it or not, that's not a refutation as to whether they're in control of it.
You just said people are subject to a technology.
Whether that's true or not has no bearing on whether or not
you also admitted that the use
of the technology.
You also admitted that the use of such technologies is not optional. Interesting.
Even if that's true, that doesn't mean that humanity is not in control of these technologies. Do you not understand that this is not an entailment? Where's the entailment? Human beings at every level we talk about are responsible for all the things you talk about. Every time we break them down, every single time, an extension of their will, every time.
And the use is not optional. So how is it?
Well, you haven't demonstrated that. What I said specifically to that point
you said that. You said that.
No.
Everybody rewind on the debate and go back to where he said the use is optional.
I got the timestamp, and what I said was it depends
on how you pretending like you didn't say it.
I said it depends on how you define it. If we're going off the definition where almost endlessly anything can be considered technology, then I said the answer would be no. Maybe.
Okay. How do you define technology?
I would just use like a regular dictionary definition for the word technology. But I think that the extensions you and I would broadly agree on would be things that are subject to human invention, which operate as some type of servant for humanity.
Well, I disagree with the second part. Human beings are the slaves of the technology, my friend.
No, that's clear to see. Human beings can't be.
That's clear to see everywhere in the world. Human beings, the objective factor of power is technological means, and they're employed everywhere to dominate, to rule.
You are not forced. You are not forced right this second to use technology.
Bullshit.
Who's forcing you to do it?
Fucking shit.
Why do you have to?
Prove that I'm not being forced to use it.
You can turn off your computer right now, shut off all electronics inside of your house, and you will not.
But I won't. But I won't. Just like you won't get rid of that cell phone.
Well, the fact that you won't doesn't mean you can't.
You haven't proven that.
I haven't proven that you can't.
Yeah, if you can get rid of the technological system,
do you agree with me that
how would you do it?
Okay. Do you agree with me that you can turn off all the electronics in your house right now?
How?
You use your finger and you push the on-off button.
Can I stop technology? Can
That's not what
live
I asked
away
you.
from technological society?
That's not what I asked you. So one more time, can you shut off all of the technology in your home?
If I can't live apart from technological society, then the answer is no.
No, you can't turn off your own technological devices.
And do what? Go outside?
Well, whatever it is, can you do it? Can you do it? Like, you could just say, yes, you can. Like, you're not, I don't even know why that's a bad bullet to bite. Like, you could just admit that you could turn off your electronic devices.
I don't believe in free will, so stop playing this game with me. I already challenged you to the free will debate. If you want to have that, that's a separate topic. No, we don't control the speed and pace of technological innovation.
You think you're predetermined?
Yes, use is not optional, so you already conceded.
So you think you're using the technology because you're predetermined to do so?
Yeah, no doubt, brother.
Wait, you don't think right now that you couldn't turn off your computer?
No, this is a self-automated machine gun firing back at you because you challenged. I saw a tab in the Discord. No, I saw a tab that said request a debate. It's not my choice that I saw that tab.
So you requested it.
I clicked on it. And
you requested it, and here I am, and I'm just absolutely murdering you in it because
how was that? No. So you already conceded like 2 or 3 of my points. You said that shit's not optional. Yeah, and then you said ideology are technology. How the fuck are you murdering me? Dude, man, you're so far up your own fucking ass, dude.
Conceding
you're so far up your own fucking ass.
You can concede to almost every single point that you make. It doesn't matter because ultimately you just reiterate over and over again that human beings at every single level of every single technology that we question are the people who are both the architects and the effectors of it. So they're both affected and the creators and the controllers. In fact, you gave your whole game away when you said at the top of this technocratic whatever are a bunch of
You can't be affected by something and be a controller of it. Hold on. You can't be affected by something and be a controller of it. What the fuck are you talking about?
Of course you can.
That's a non sequitur right there.
No, you can control fire and it can warm you.
You said humans are subject to ideologies.
Yes,
you can. The use of technology is not optional.
Yeah.
But you're winning this debate.
You can start
Human beings are not controlling technology in your world.
You can start.
There's no impetus to live a technological life from the Christian perspective.
Dude, you can start a fire and it can warm you. You can both control it and be affected by it. Do you agree or disagree?
Can I go start a fire right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are
you
sure
have a lighter in your fucking? I'll tell you what. I can promise you. Do you have a lighter in your hand? Go ahead and take the lighter and put it up to your fucking skin, and you'll be both the controller and the affected, all at the same time.
I didn't make the lighter.
You don't need to make the lighter. You're still in control of it.
Can I go outside and start a fire?
Yeah.
Am I free to do that?
I didn't. Yeah. What do you mean free to do it? Yeah, you can go do it.
This is fucking Detroit. People went to jail for lighting fires here, my friend.
Well, whether there's a consequence to it or not doesn't mean you couldn't go do it.
The consequences are part of the mitigation of the fucking behavior. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, so what's the consequence of you like lighting a piece of paper on fire right now and your face being warmed by it? That would be you both controlling the mechanism for which the fire was created, controlling the fire and being affected by the fire all at one time.
Yeah, but I didn't control how I lit the fire.
You do control it. How do you not control it?
Am I lighting it with flints and rocks? What the fuck are you talking about?
You don't need a flint and rock to be the controller. You understand the machine and the mechanism, and you're in control of the machine and the mechanism. See, that machine don't lie. When you flick it, the little flamey flame comes out, and you can start shit on fire with it. You understand both its operation, its intrinsic function, how it can be used as a servant, and
no, you don't. No, you don't. If you don't know how to start a fire without it, no, you don't.
Why? Why not? That's the machine. It's just a simple machine. It's a simple, basic, crafted machine.
But the machine, it's artifice. You're using artifice to accomplish an end that's mediated by a rule of experts. You're not in control of the situation.
How are you not in control of that situation if you have the machine in your hand?
Because we didn't make the lighter. You can't start the fire on your own. I already fucking said. How fucking dense are you, man?
You don't need to make the fucking lighter in order for you to be in control of that piece of technology.
Shit, man. But you didn't make the fucking lighter. You don't know how to make one. You got to go to the fucking gas station to buy one. I do know how to
make one.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. I controlled everything. Yeah, I could control flicking the lighter. That's about as much as I fucking control in that.
Didn't say that you could.
That's not a lot of control.
I didn't say that you controlled the entire process, but as we move up the process for who does control it, it's just other people again. And then it's other people on top of that, and other people over here, and other people over there. These are all the extensions of people's will. Technology has no will of its own.
Why does who's controlling why scientists are inventing something? When Ben Goetzel says he's inventing a successor intelligence,
it's their will. It's their own will which invents these things. They're the controller.
So the guy who so Ben Goetzel says his goal is to invent a successor intelligence that will overtake humanity, and how is his goals not inherently self-destructive, and why shouldn't we try to stop him?
Well, I didn't say that you shouldn't try to stop him or that it's not inherently self-destructive.
You didn't?
But it is an extension of his will.
You didn't say we should try to stop him?
I didn't say we shouldn't try to stop him.
So we should try to stop him.
Well, whether you should or you shouldn't, it's beside
the point. No. Should we or shouldn't we? What's optimal?
What? Try to stop somebody from making self-destructive technology or destructive technology? Sure.
Yeah. No kidding.
I think it's okay to regulate that, of course.
And how do you regulate it?
You can do it any number of different ways.
How do you personally, Andrew Wilson, regulate that process?
I can only regulate the process of invention of technology that I myself would invent. However, if there's invention,
that's right. You're only.
Let me, dude. You gotta let me finish. Okay, however, there is regulatory bodies who can indeed arrest people, put them in jail, stifle different technologies they don't want out there.
Regulatory bodies are not people.
With nuclear, this happens.
Regulatory bodies are not people.
They're comprised completely 100% of people. Who else are they comprised of?
Regulatory bodies are technologies applied in an autocratic state.
No, they're just
they
people,
have nothing
bro.
to do with people. You can
they're
exchange
people.
people. You can exchange the people one for another, and they'll perform the same functions. It's complete nonsense.
No, they wouldn't perform the same functions. Where on earth did you get that idea that they would perform the same functions, that were interchangeable widgets? And we're at totally the mercy of everything external to us. That's insanity.
Every part of an autocratic system
You're
is an interchangeable
technology.
widget.
You're
What
a
the fuck are
fucking
you talking
technology. you're
Gentlemen,
what
about?
may I interrupt?
Technology of God.
I do notice a sort of circling.
Technology.
The machine lies in Andrew. I do notice a certain circling around the first premise, which is system cannot be reformed, and control is like part of that assertion. But there are other 2 points: that the breakdown is inevitable, and it's people are suffering based on the collapse. You're coming towards the end of the hour. Would you like to switch to those topics? Because I see.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so let's start with your first premise. The first premise is the system cannot be reformed. But the problem is that this kind of goes into the debate we were already having, which is that I believe that your definition of what this system is nebulous. I think that all systems are just people. I think that a people are the composition of every system which is in creation currently. And it will always be that case. We have dominion over everything. And we've always had dominion over everything. God gave us dominion over everything. Now, there's some forms of natural occurrences that we can't control, and maybe we shouldn't even try to control those natural occurrences. However, we still have dominion over our will. Our will. Do you understand? Everything's an extension of this. So when you say the system can't be reformed, you're saying that people's wills can't be reformed, and that's bullshit. Of course they can.
Every empire on earth will fall. Every knee shall bow. Every throne shall be handed over to him. All possessions shall be handed over to him.
That
Who
sounds like
controls
a
that?
reformation.
Who controls that process? Who
That's
controls
a
that process?
reformation. That's a
Collapse
reformation.
is inevitable according to Christianity.
Yeah, but
You're
you
a
just
perpetrator. You're a perpetrator of a Christian if you don't believe collapse is inevitable.
You just made my point for me. Everything that you just stated is a reformation.
It's under God's control, not human control.
Then it's but it's a reformation.
No, it's not a reformation. It's a total undertaking by God and not by
That would be a
humanity.
reformation of the system, wouldn't it?
That human beings are not in control of. One vessel made for
Human beings
glory,
are in
one
control of
vessel
their own
made for
systems.
God's glory, and one vessel made for his destruction. Not in control.
Why do you think?
We can have the free will debate later. Let's talk about collapse.
Yeah, let's talk about collapse. So I would concede, of course, that nothing can last forever, and that eventually entropy can lead to collapse. However, you're not in control of that either. You're not in control of when something will collapse.
So we're not in control. So human beings are not in control.
You're not in control of when it will collapse. We only know for certainty that maybe one day it will, but that doesn't mean that you're not in control of the collapse. It just means that we can base human history on knowing that we've never seen anything that doesn't. But that doesn't mean it's impossible.
We are in control. It's optional. It's not optional.
Okay. No, it's both and. It is a both and proposition.
Both and.
Yeah, it's both and.
And
no,
or.
just both and. Not and or. That's a different statement.
Okay.
So it's both and.
The collapse is inevitable. It's not being caused by human factors.
Yeah, but at the same time, collapse can also be staved off by human will changing. Both of those things are true at the same time. Just because the eventuality may happen because it has to happen eventually doesn't mean that your will can't control when that will happen. Your will changing can necessarily slow a collapse down. It can change it into a renaissance, into a reformation. Both of these things are true.
You literally here's what you just said. You said the will controls inevitabilities. That's bullshit, isn't it? That's a complete nonsense statement.
Why would it be a nonsense statement?
Inevitability opposite of control, friend.
No. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying. Try to understand. Can you give me a date? Can you give me a date when society will collapse?
No.
No, right. The reason that you can't do that is because you don't know.
You do know that. Man knoweth the hour of the time.
But you do know.
Not even Jesus.
But I'm not even talking about like the end of all times, just like a basic societal collapse. You don't know when
that's
that
what I'm
will.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but I'm just stay
Does
off
man
that
control
for a
the end of
second.
time, and who knows when that's going to come?
Dude, I don't care about that yet. Well, I'll get to that, but let's just start with this very basic principle. Do you agree with me that you don't know when the United States will collapse? You don't have any idea, right? You agree that that's true? You don't know? And I would agree that you don't know. So somewhere in this process, let's say if men made different choices than the ones that they make, it would take 800 years rather than 500 years. Not only is that totally reasonable, but it's the only thing that's logically true is that it's the will of people that control these things ultimately. And if there's a shift in public consciousness, there's a shift in how people think and how they do things, then necessarily that's going to control for this outcome, even if the outcome's inevitable. Both and are true at the same time.
Yes, but human beings do not control the speed and pace of scientific innovation. And then the rule of experts is inherently driven towards a myth of progress. So not only do they actually believe that the system is progressing and they have to make it progress at all costs, but there's no real way that they're controlling the speed and pace of innovation within that system. So to reiterate the point,
so let's assume for a second that there was a shift in the consciousness of experts where they decided that it was not necessary at any means to make technology propel forward. If there was a conscious shift in these people, don't you think that technology then would necessarily be slowed down?
hold on. Can we move to how our
I want you to answer my question because it's an important one.
Okay, ask that
if
question.
The consciousness of these scientists, was affected this way, where they no longer considered the scientific pursuit to be necessary to always be moving forward under any means necessary, as you just said, wouldn't that necessarily slow down technological advancement?
Which scientists where?
Whichever ones you're talking about that are driven under all circumstances to drive technology forward, whichever ones those are.
They're driven by an ideology that I mentioned.
Yeah, I get it. So answer my question now. If their consciousness changed and they no longer thought that that was like the end all be all and shifted away from that, then wouldn't that necessarily slow down technology? Isn't that necessarily entailed?
No, because they don't control the speed and pace of innovation.
Then what does? What controls it if it's not people?
Innovation is inherently random.
Okay, so hang on. Do people create technologies?
Do people come up with new ideas? Is what you're asking.
No, I'm asking if they create technologies.
Each technological advance is based on previous advances, so not always.
Okay, but people are the ones who are creating ultimately most of the technologies, let's say.
No, because if that advance is based on a previous technology, then it's the technology.
Well, they're still inventing a new technology, regardless of what it was.
No, the system seeks improvement, self-improvement, efficiency for the sake of efficiency. The goal is circular, my friend. You're not getting
so what you're trying to say here, which is ridiculous again, is you're saying, okay, the combustion engine was already made. So if you make a combustion engine that only takes half the fuel to fire the pistons, you haven't actually invented a new technology. Because it was based on a previous technology. That's insanity.
How is that insanity?
Because it is a brand new technology. It's a different type of engine at that point. It's a different type of motor. It operates a different way. So it is actually a new technology. It's still based on a previous one.
And what does new mean? You said earlier there's nothing new under the sun.
It means has not been created anymore. Or before, has not been created before. Nobody knows it's been created before.
Yeah, nobody knows.
And when you're saying there's nothing new under the sun,
that's exactly the thing I'm focusing on.
When
nobody knows it's being created before, so they don't control when it's being created.
Okay, but when somebody says there's nothing new under the sun, they don't mean that every technology which has ever existed has already existed. They mean that the human process and the human method is nothing. There's never anything new there. Never. It goes in like these cycles. And those cycles are dependent upon the consciousness of people. So what I'm saying to you
let's
is
talk about these cycles.
If the consciousness of a person,
let's talk about these
people
cycles.
collect. I'm talking about them right now. If the consciousness of people and the person shifts, these technologies would necessarily have to slow down. There wouldn't be a choice. And that's the logical entailment, which is why you like divert. You divert from almost every question I ask you.
If the technologies don't lead to human flourishing, then they will have to be curtailed. And that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying collapse is inevitable because they do not constitute human flourishing.
Yeah. So when you say that collapse is inevitable,
who's getting their ass whooped now, buddy?
When you say that collapse, still you. Just because I'm responding to you and picking my words doesn't mean that you're not losing this debate horribly. But that's your fault.
It took you a fucking minute to respond there.
Well, dude, it takes me a minute to unravel the shit that you say. It's like psychobabble.
I'm just talking shit, dude. Go ahead.
But let me dive in real quick to kind of this bizarre idea. You still haven't really answered for this inside of your own purview. You say collapse is inevitable. I'm willing to kind of concede that on a micro level, there are collapses which are probably inevitable. A house can't stand forever and things like this. I've never disputed that. What I'm disputing, though, is that if there's people constantly working on the house, the chances that it's going to collapse are not very good. And there's people who just abandon it and leave it to nature. Then, yeah, through atrophy, eventually this thing's going to collapse. The shift in human will is
what do you mean leave it to nature? What do you mean
what allows the house to stay, or I'm just saying independent of human will.
Independent of human will. Where does that work? There is no independent of human will. Nature, independent of human will? Yeah, that's what the fuck I was talking about.
That's what I just said. You're just like reaffirming my point.
Yeah. It's not under the control of human will. Independent of human will.
Yeah, technology is not independent of human will.
You're reaffirming my point. You're reaffirming my point.
Nature may be independent of human will, but technology is not. Technology is still subject to nature, the thing outside of human will, in fact.
Technology is subject to nature?
Yeah.
How is that?
Well, I mean, have you ever seen a ship?
It's the other way around.
Is the ship in control of the ocean?
It's the other way around.
The ship. Is the ship in control of the ocean, or is the ocean in control of the ship?
The ocean is in control of the ship.
Right. So then the technology, which is the dependency of a person's will, is actually subject to nature, not nature to the technology.
Nature is subject. Human will is subject to nature, and nature is technology. How is technology separate from nature? Everything you get from everything you use to make technology comes from nature.
If you say that nature is technology, then I reject that, because technology, my purview,
how do you get anything outside of nature to create technology?
I'm going to explain this.
The human will is not outside of nature. You just said the human will is subject to nature.
Yeah.
Therefore, how do you get something outside of nature?
I'm trying to tell you. Do you want me to answer your question?
Yes.
It's very simple. When you say that nature is a technology, it's not a man-made technology, and so I don't consider it to be technological. I consider it to be, in fact, the antithesis of everything that is not technological. So it is not a man-made technology. Just because it's a requirement that we use the refuse of nature or dead things in nature to create technology.
So who made nature?
God.
So nature is not under the control of man. It's not a man-made technology. You just said that.
Yeah.
So you agree that nature is technology?
It's not a man-made technology. Therefore, I don't put it in the criteria
of technology. It's a God-made technology. Therefore, it is technology.
Oh, it's a God-made technology. Well, if that's your purview,
do you not think that? Do you not think that God created nature?
Hang on. Well, I do think He created nature, but here's the thing: if that's true that you think though that makes it a technology, right? That's my dispute. Is
you just said it was a technology. You said it's God-made technology. That's what you said.
I literally said God invented it. You added the word technology to nature. I said nature isn't technology. So by your definition,
no, you didn't. You said nature is technology.
Not only did I say that, but I said it. That was my opening for it. And on top of that, let me ask you a question. You know what the mind is? The mind. Do you consider the mind then to be a God-made technology?
God can control your mind.
No, not your brain, the mind.
The mind is a God-made technology that God is in control of.
Oh,
human
okay.
beings are not in control.
Then let me ask you this question. I'm just curious. Can God make anything evil? Or does everything good come from God? Is everything God creates good? Everything?
what human beings create outside of what
That's
God
not my
made,
question.
it is inherently
My
evil.
question
Especially
to you is what God makes, can it ever be evil?
what God makes, can it ever be evil?
Is
Well,
anything God creates evil?
well, I believe that the God is not responsible for evil.
Right. So then no, which means that the mind that he creates can't be evil.
How is
Is that
nature
right?
evil? How is nature
I
evil?
didn't say it was. So one more time, back to my question, since the mind is not evil and God creates the mind and ideas come from the mind and technology comes from the ideas, how can these things be evil if
Because
they're
God
rooted in what's good?
The technology does not come from the mind.
Where do ideas come from?
Ideas are built upon previous ideas. They usually come
Where
from
did
nature.
those ideas come from?
They come from nature, which God made.
Oh, nature created the ideas that you have.
Yes.
Oh, where? So which part of nature
But you haven't
created your
demonstrated that
ideas?
nature. You haven't demonstrated that
Which-
nature created the
which-
technologies.
Listen, which part? I just want to know. I got to know. Which part of nature created your ideas?
Which part of nature created my ideas?
Because I think the mind is where your ideas come from. Do you have some other explanation for where your ideas come from?
I have no explanation for what mind is. Why don't you define what mind is, since you're so smart?
It would be the portion of you which has a connection to the metaphysical, which is governed by the laws of logic, which are immaterial.
That's a bunch of gobbledygook.
I just explained it. What's gobbledygook about it? Did the laws of logic exist?
What is a mind?
Do the laws of logic exist? Because this will explain the mind. Say yes or no.
The laws of logic exist independent of minds, no?
No. Well, I don't know. Do they?
No, I don't know.
Gentlemen, we're approaching
Do they?
time.
I want to know. Do the laws of logic exist?
Well,
Where
this
do
is
they
an
exist?
important point, gentlemen. I suggest perhaps in the last few minutes we have, or I don't know how long you intend to be going before closings, and if you even want closings, maybe focus on the question not of control, which we've had for a while, but is there in fact a collapse? Are there signs of it, or are there signs of renewal? What's going on? Which was one of the key parts of the writing was the prediction.
Yes.
There it could be collapse or it could be renaissance. Hard to say.
So you don't know.
Yeah, how could anybody know that?
So how are human beings in control of that?
Well,
It's independent of the
overly-
mind.
Is it overly?
It's independent of the mind and
so
the human will.
what you're saying is overly simplistic. Again, you're saying
No,
that,
what you're saying is overly
because I
simplistic.
can't because
That
I
you
can't
pick up
make-
a chicken, shoot the chicken in the fucking head, and you control every part of that. That's fucking retarded.
So can I pick something up off the ground?
Yes, nobody's
Do
disputing that.
Do I know what'll happen if I do?
What caused you to pick that thing up off the
Do I
ground?
know what'll happen if I do?
Do the laws of logic exist?
You're not answering my fucking question. You just like sit there and stare at me, and you never answer any of my questions. If I pick
answered
something
so
up,
many.
and I
You know
pick
what?
up-
You know what? You know, I answered so many of your fucking questions today, dude. It's fucking ridiculous.
You've avoided everything I've asked you.
All right. Yeah. They all say that.
Yeah,
I've confronted you here.
Can you pick something up off the ground, and then you know what'll happen if you do?
How do I decide that I was going to do that? Every part of me picking something off the ground was based on a previous action. And then once I pick it off the ground, what the fuck am I going to do with it?
Who cares? It's not answering the question.
Am I going to control what comes of what I do, of what I pick up?
Yeah, you don't know what the outcome's going to be, but just because
No shit, motherfucker.
Just because you can't predict what the outcome's going to be doesn't mean you're not in control of picking the thing up off the ground. Do you understand that just because you're in control?
No, because you're not telling me what happened before that and what happened after that.
You can operate.
Cut a piece of time out, isolate it from the rest of all of reality, the past and the present, and just go with what you're doing now. Nothing fucking happens that way.
Okay, so you can drive a car, but you could get in an accident in a car, even though the car's under your control, right? Things can happen where it spirals out of your control temporarily. Like what you're saying is overly simplistic, that Technology is never within human control because you can't always make a prediction as to when, why, or how
You
something's
already
gonna
admitted
happen.
it's not under human control because its use is not optional.
No, you admitted it's always under human control because every time you question about any independent technology, you can't move it outside of humans interacting with it.
I know Casimir is gonna get pissed off if we don't talk about collapse here. For real. Because I'm on some shit right now where I'm like, let's go with the collapse angle, you know? And
Well, I don't mind. You guys have it's about 5 minutes to a full hour of debate. So if you guys want to discuss one more topic or go into closings, it's your call.
Yeah, I'll take it wherever the machine lies wants to go from here. Wherever that is.
okay, well, I'll say that I guess how is every time you see reforms of the technological system, you see that the problems are worse than the solutions. For example, human beings invented chemicals that cause various autoimmune diseases by changing the expression of your genes. And then to combat this, we actually invent
Like GMOs. Like GMOs.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then to combat this, we don't stop the effects of these chemicals, but what we do is we make compensatory mechanisms like genetic engineering that are worse than the problem itself. Can you explain how we can stop this process if we are indeed in control of it?
How you can stop injecting people with GMOs? You stop manufacturing GMOs. You make strict laws against GMO manufacturing. Make strict laws against chemicals which hurt people, which people do now. Countries and nations do them now.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened. They created genetic engineering to deal with the problem.
On the flip side of that, you also have technologies which exist which cure people from all sorts of ailments using this same type of engineering, and it works pretty effectively. So I don't know what you're talking about. Both of those things are true at the same time through the extension of will. Some of those technologies are greatly beneficial to humanity. Things that, like, for instance, getting a stent put in your heart through your wrist is an excellent advent of technology. These technologies are supremely beneficial to humankind, well within the purview and control of humans. Just saying that because we invented GMOs, there's no way for us to stop them from being produced that's also not true.
Do you think a
And
life
you
is
see this in farming now.
You'll
see this in farming now with heirloom seeds that are getting away from GMOs.
Hold on. Do you think a person's life is qualitatively improved by putting a stent in their heart?
Well, if they're if they've had a heart attack, sure. Yeah, if they have a blood vessel that's clogged up, yeah, they'll die if you don't put a stent in their heart, dude.
Why would it be better for them to live than die?
What? Okay, so switching gears, I think it's better for a person to live than die because we have a deontological, ethical, and virtuous-based duty to keep them alive if they want to live.
So then we have a deontological, and ethical duty to stop human suffering.
No, that would be consequentialism. I wouldn't say suffering. That's not suffering's not what the goal is. That would be the opposite of deontology. It would be more like,
but to maximize human life, you said.
I think generally speaking, we have a duty to try to help people live who want to be alive. Yeah. I think that there's great virtue in that. I think that both your cultural background and mine, Christian and Muslim, would probably agree that there's great virtue in keeping people alive who want to be alive.
I think that there is factors that are causing human suffering that are technological, and it's a moral obligation to end those factors.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So can you name one net gain that technology has provided us? Or
net
can
gains?
You not?
Oh yeah. Well, there's tons and tons of net gains of technology. Just machinery and logistics alone.
What is it? What is it? Go ahead and
trying
name
to explain it. So
okay.
just within the confines of logistics alone, rampant starvation was a problem for most of human history, and it's all but eradicated. And we have more human beings on planet Earth than we ever have before. This is due to purely logistics. the ability to move food all over the world globally at the speed of light. It's incredible. We have more people who exist now living good lives than have ever existed in any single given
because
time
of
in
international
recorded
trade.
history.
Are you kidding me?
Not because of international trade. I didn't say that. I said it's because of logistics. You understand the difference?
Logistics.
Yes, this would be the machinery delivering, machinery which can package and deliver food all over the world in a moment's notice. No, it's not always just based around international trade. Sometimes it's localized trade. A lot of times it's localized trade. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That it doesn't have to be geopolitical every time, man.
Yeah, large scale technologies are inherently maximizing, and they do spread globally. They do enact global controls. If you think we're not living under a global system right now, you're delusional.
The logistics require controls too, but I don't see a problem with that.
Logistics are technologies.
Yeah, I think that those controls are good. I think they help feed a lot of people. I think they get my Xbox here by the next day. I mean, I like that.
Yeah, they also spread lots of GMOs and give people cancer and spread.
Yeah, and I think that we can get rid of those. And we can get rid of those
genetically superfluous material.
We don't have to have both. We don't have to have GMOs. We don't have to have GMOs.
We don't have to have RNA either.
We don't have to have GMOs in order to give food to the world at lightning quick speed. Like, that's not a necessary entailment, bro. We don't have to have it. You can get rid of GMOs and keep the logistics.
You just said it makes everything better, so we do have to have it, in your opinion.
I didn't say GMOs make anything better. You're just making shit up again in your own brain.
You said no. I didn't say you said GMOs make everything better. I said you said international trade makes everything better. What you won't admit is international trade.
I didn't
call it logistics,
which
is a superfluous term.
It's not. Logistics don't always have anything to do.
Logistics is a superfluous term.
It's not always international trade, right? Logistics can just be localized trade. The ability for you to get in a truck and drive 30 minutes away with a truck full of goods is a huge boon on society compared to having to load up fucking carriages and you haven't seen all day for one stop.
And you haven't seen how multinational corporations are inherently causing the loss of local trade.
Well, yes, there can be side effects to these issues.
Oh, yes, yes, that's what's causing it. Yes.
Well, that's not what's causing it. It's a side effect.
That is what's causing it. That is the objective factor.
It's not always what's causing it. Localized play. Do you know that there's local areas where local governments have stopped Walmarts from coming in and stopped large transnational corporations from coming in and still keep their localized trade? So you can have the big transnational corporations and local bodies which stop those corporations from coming in and demolishing your local systems. I can give you several examples, even two off the top of my head, of places that have stopped transnational corporations from coming in to their small local communities and destroying them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear those examples, but can a highly technologically advanced society exist next to a smaller technologically advanced society? History has shown us that that's not such a good case.
Not only can it happen, but it's happening right now. One such country is North and South Korea. South Korea is technologically.
And how are they doing with each other?
the technological advancement.
Oh my God.
Well, unlike us in Mexico, I think there's been less violence between those two countries in the last 60 years than us in Mexico. So just saying.
Gentlemen, we're close to out of normal time. Do you guys want to keep talking or do closing statements? We're about an hour. I think we're exactly an hour after the open discussion started.
Okay. Yeah, we can. Let me get the call-in link over real quick.
Hell
yeah. Oh yeah,
I gotta get that over.
There's at least one caller, so I'll.
One caller.
Yeah. If you have the
Where's
link,
all my people?
There'll be more.
No, my people need to call in.
Yeah. If you have the link, Kaz, you can put it out. Well, usually there's closing statements, and then while we're doing the closing statements, callers will stack up. Have mercy on Kaz. It's his first time moderating on the Crucible, and he did it with super short notice. Which is my fault, but yeah, he did it with super short notice. So
Kaz has done an excellent job, as have you.
Is he? Wilson. Is he? Because earlier you were bitching him out because he asked you a question. So I don't know.
I know. It's part of the show. Hey, it's part of the show. It's part of the fucking show. You know, we got to bring the audience. We got to keep it live out here. Yeah, I respect you, brother Wilson, and I was mainly just doing that for the show. But we've had obviously very calm interactions in person, and obviously I like to whoop it up. You know what I'm saying? But I hope that worked out for your audience, or if everybody's shitting on me, I'm sorry. It's all good. But yeah, are we doing callers or closing statements or what?
Well, if we do closing statements, then you would go last. So,
Okay.
I'm getting a small slight echo. I think maybe that's from UCAS, maybe. Yeah. And nope, that's from the machine lies. How are you listening to me? Is it through like a speaker?
Yes.
Yeah, so your speaker's too loud and it's actually
Oh, okay. I
sending
guess
echoes through your mic.
I guess my brother's telling me I just have to back up, so I'll just stay behind.
Test,
Okay.
test, 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 test. I still hear it. Got to turn your volume down a little bit.
Okay. Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, so I guess in closing, I never actually got a demonstration of technology which works independent of human interaction. In fact, the only thing he gave me was something bizarre like books. But the thing that's interesting about books, especially, is he's like, well, a person could put the ideas down in a book. It's like, yeah, that's true, but then a person has to read it in order to gain the ideas, right? So it's like, again, it's always the employment of technology through human will. And just kind of every avenue that we go down, it's always the same thing. It's like, this is inevitable. It can't be stopped. This operates absent human will. It really doesn't. Technology is controlled by humanity. Maybe one day there'll be some form of technology that's invented that is not controlled by humanity. But right now, we don't live in that world. And I don't know when we'll live in that world. There could be, side effects of technology that we don't exactly control the outcomes of it. Obviously things go wrong because machinery is imperfect. Everything down from a basic trap can go sideways. But for the most part, these are things that we definitely interact with and have control of. So I really don't even understand what the crux of the argument is when you say something kind of as seemingly absurd to me as like, it's inevitable that technology is going to move at a stasis speed, which, by the way, we didn't even get into this, but computer technology has moved far, far faster than many of the technologies of the past because of its ability to assist in the generation of its own technological advancement. And this, again, though, is all through human invention and human interface with that technology. So, how you could ever say that technology doesn't exist through will, I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, that's it. That's my closing statement.
Okay.
All right. The machine lies. Your turn.
Yep. I mean, one of the things I'm seeing is that I haven't seen any defense of why we should use technology, how it increases the human moral scope, or why there's not a moral obligation to end the system. Now, Christian morality makes no impetus for the use of machines. How much technology is needed to live a good life? Well, the answer that was given by Brother Andrew himself is very little. Now, every encoding of knowledge, which is technique, constitutes a loss of agency. This loss of agency comes in the fact that every act that's performed in arbitration loses in accuracy. Every act that is mediated through the use of machines loses in accuracy because processes are encoded. Techniques are not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is something that is neutral, that you can use for your benefit or your harm. But technology is something that encodes this knowledge into something called a technique that functions independent of human use. It functions as a process that is done through innovation, through the rule of experts whose expertise constantly intrude into our daily life, and whose expertise we have no way of understanding, controlling, modifying, or reforming. And therefore, as Brother Andrew admitted during the course of this debate, the use of this technology is not optional. And also that underscore here the point: power is not the same thing as control. one may exert a large amount of power unless it's directed towards a specific goal. Control, the more power one has, inherently, the more lack of control one has. Power is brute force. Objective means of power constitute technologies that constitute a system that is not under human control. Furthermore, choice is not freedom. Just because we have choices does the more the more choices we have, the less free we are. Oh, Andrew's muted. What? Well, anyways, I'm done there. So.
Oh, you guys are done with the closings?
Yeah,
I'm done with my closing.
Yeah, I was just making sure. Did somebody mute your mic right at the end there and ruin your closing statement like you ruined his opening statement? What?
No, it was just like a
what
5-second
dickhead
mute.
would do
and then I picked it
that?
up.
What kind of dickhead would do that? I don't know. Anyway,
He's a good
Adam
kid.
Dole, you're our first caller up. How you doing, man?
Before he goes, I do have a question. As I have the moderator's
Yeah, that's
prerogative.
true. You do. You have
Ask
the
questions.
moderator's
I was
prerogative,
paying
yeah.
attention a little bit to the debate. Now, I don't care much about the control compatibilism. That's a separate debate you guys should have. I have a couple of questions to Machine Lies. So I'm assuming you don't know when the collapse will happen. I think that was determined during the debate. And I'm assuming
well, it's inherent in the argument. It's into Uncle Ted's argument.
right, but does the argument depend in any way on like historical pattern recognition? It's like Roman Empire, British Empire, American Empire. Is that
yeah. There is a phenomenon within civilization where you reach a high level of cultural and technological advance, and then the society gets taken over because the people in it become so used to those means. They create a class of luxury. That class of luxury exploits the population. This is precisely what we're happening today. All the factors of those collapsed societies in the past are actually existing today,
So
as many other have noted.
my follow-up to that is, do you believe that when the elites of those societies, the elite Roman society collapsed, let's say, if we accept that, did the Roman people disappear, and did Roman technology disappear? Did Roman advancements disappear?
Well, what you're saying is that were the inventions of a previous civilization constituted into the next dominant civilization, which constitutes a full progress of humanity in terms of technology. I don't agree with that. I think that technological progress has many ebbs and flows. We can gain technologies, we could lose technologies. We may have lost technologies that existed in Roman times that we do not know how to perfect today.
Well, let's come closer. The British Empire recently dissolved. I don't know if it counts as a collapse or not, but Anglo technology and Anglo-made technology or source technology and Anglo people are all over the planet. There's still allegedly someplace down under, although we're not so sure with Andrew. There's Canada, there's the United States, right? There's probably more of those people around, in fact, than back in the peak of the British Empire. So how is an elite collapsing resulting in an inevitable collapse of the society where it just seems to morph to something new?
Well, do you think after the collapse of Roman society, it just morphed into something new?
Yes. Holy Roman Empire, Byzantium, and so on.
And do you think that was the same as the Roman Empire?
Well, it's not the same. It was slightly different, but
no, it's totally different.
No, in terms of the laws, people
first of all, it's a
followed.
totally different location. Second of all, it's a totally different basis for rule in the society, which is the church.
Okay. Fine. I guess I don't. I have no more questions. I'm trying to decipher what my second question was, which was aimed at more at
No worries.
Andrew, but maybe I'll go with the caller and then I'll figure it out, just to not stop the show.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Okay, am I here? I'm here. I hope.
Yeah.
right.
Now, Kaz, when these callers come on, you're in control. So you got to welcome them, tell them their thing, tell them all that shit. All right.
Hello, Adam, and let's get the questions going.
All right. So, first, I have a very straightforward question for Machine Lies. What
shit.
isn't a technology?
What isn't a technology? Well, I favor a very broad definition of technology. As I said earlier, nature is technology.
He also favors a very broad definition of never answering your question.
Well, so can you provide me a specific example?
Nature is technology. That's an Andrew. I mean, that's a fucking answer, Brother Wilson. I'm sorry if you don't think so.
Wait, no, I'm saying, can you give me a specific example of something that exists that is not a technology?
Something that exists that's not a technology? Well, I agree what Andrew said earlier, that nature is God-made technology, so no.
So nothing is not technology. Everything is technology.
Yes, everything is technology, in my opinion. Everything has a technological aspect to it. Mankind himself is inherently technological. We're not only alienated by technology, but we're also alienated from technology by the rule of experts.
Can you show me in the dictionary where technology has a synonym with everything?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have a cold.
Like, can you show me a definition for technology that just states like everything, anything?
I don't think the dictionary. Hold on. I'll answer your question. I don't think the dictionary is definitive, but I do think that when the Bible says that God is the creator, it has spoken firmly on the matter that nature is technology created by God, that all of nature is a creative process, part of a creative process.
I mean, this is fine, but can we focus on the definition of, we just isolate anything divine and focus on man-made technology, and then maybe that will focus the conversation?
Well, hold on. I just have one thing to say.
Go ahead.
If you are to say that everything that exists is technology, and that technology alienates people from everything in technology, I mean, that's just a complete nonsense statement. If everything is technology,
well, it's Gnosticism. It's just Gnosticism.
No, that's bullshit. Gnosticism seeks to manipulate nature the same way technological
Gnosticism is monism.
No. Most of the secular humanists. No. Most of the people who created the current system are Gnostics.
No, you're saying that humans and animals and everything on planet Earth, which is in existence, is all the same thing. That's monism.
I said it was created by God.
No, you said it's all the same thing. Technology. It's monism.
Well, it's not God. There is no monism.
You said it's
nature
all
is separate from God.
It's all the same.
There's no
thing,
monism
right?
there, friend. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, there is, because God created everything, right?
Wait. Hold on.
God created everything.
Right, and you're saying everything is a technology, right?
Everything is separate from God. So how is that a monism?
Is evil a technology?
Craft could be evil.
What does that mean, craft?
Craft means hidden goals.
Evil.
Okay, so is evil a technology then?
You could have evil technologies, yes.
Okay, so just literally you think that everything is technology.
I never fucking said that. You can go ahead and conclude that from what I said.
You did.
You keep saying roll it back like we're deaf, bro. We don't need to roll it back. We heard you.
Yeah, everything is technology except for God. God created technology. What part of that didn't you fucking hear for the 90th time? And then you're gonna tell me I said everything is technology again. Yeah. Are you fucking deaf?
Then name something that isn't.
God.
Yeah, but okay.
I just did so many fucking times.
So absent God, is there anything that isn't technology?
Oh yeah, absent God, no, nothing is. Nothing absent God is not fucking technology.
Okay, so then it's just like oneness absent God, basically, is your worldview. So everything is the same thing absent God.
There is no absent God. You just created a false world,
I'm just putting
absent God,
exactly.
and then you called me a monist.
You just
Well, you are a monist.
That's complete bullshit. There is no world I believe in that is absent God.
Really,
and I'm not a monist.
your
What the
whole
fuck are you talking
purview,
about?
your whole purview actually
you just create a straw
no,
man.
your whole
You create a world
your whole
absent
worldview,
God, and then you call me a monist.
your whole worldview
What
actually
the
is
fuck
that
are you
God's the
talking about?
only technology.
What the fuck are you
really.
talking about?
I'm telling you.
The world absent God is monism.
Yeah,
the world absent God is monism. I didn't talk about a world absent God.
Because what you're saying is that God's really the only technology.
God's the only technology.
Yeah, he's
I
the
don't
only
follow that one.
he's the only
I
architecture.
never said that. I never said that. What the fuck
Well,
are you talking
he
about?
must be the only thing that's actual technology, or at least the only thing that has the
God
ability
created the world.
Yeah,
The world is
bro,
technology.
when
If
you're ready to
man
let me
creates
finish.
technology, is man the same thing that he creates? That's ridiculous.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You think a person is technology, don't you?
Created by God.
Yeah, so a person's technology, right?
I just fucking said that.
Well, you did. Then just say yes. Like, I don't need
But
long fucking descriptors for everything.
How does that mean? I think that everything's technology. Is everything a person?
You just ever answer my fucking questions without these long ass
I know you think everything's a
diatribes.
logo, so everything's a person.
No, I'm
That's
just
ridiculous.
saying. I'm just saying to you, in your purview, the only thing that can ever actually create anything is God, and that everything else in existence, man can create nothing because man's just a technology himself. Everything's just a technology. Nothing's even created. What's ever even created?
Technology creates things.
Wait, Andrew and Machine Lights, can I maybe try to make it more precise if possible? Machine Lights, can we somehow sort between these two, between made by God and made by man, or because if
I think there's three questions, and I'll try to answer some of the confusion here. There's three big questions that aren't being answered. One is the question of free will. The second is the question of philosophy of mind, and the third is the question of theodicy. Now, these are deep philosophical issues that require their own debates.
None of those are their questions. Like, just answer our questions.
No. You asked me about evil. You asked me about mind. You asked me about all that shit. You said we're in control of technology. These are the issues at play. You keep capitulating to larger philosophical issues because you want to abstract away from the issue.
No, I'm actually want to keep it.
How do human beings control the objective means of power in the world? You still haven't answered that.
I don't think there are objective means.
Individuals aren't in control of those.
There's not objective means of power in the world. That's made up bullshit. That's I already deviated from that in the beginning.
You said earlier that a gun can be used for evil, or it could be used for the Renaissance.
That's right. That's right. I did. There's a subjective usage when it comes to our interpretation of who has power. That doesn't mean that they do.
Adam, do you have a follow-up or a question to someone else?
Well, I had one more for the Machine Lies. I just got to get my notes, and I have one for Andrew as well. So I'm sorry. You were sort of going back and forth on this. So before I ask the actual question, I want to make sure I have your position right, Machine. Is your position that Christians can live free of technology, or that Christians can live with a minimal amount of technology, or is it specifically
the Christian
machines?
is the technology. The Christian is technology. Everything's technology. Nothing can be absolute technology because everything's technology.
Well, the reason
is a technology that's based on a book, which is technology.
Yeah, it's just like there's just like within
Christianity
his
is not
definition.
people.
Within his definition,
is Christianity people?
Within
people control Christianity?
Within his definition,
or does God control Christianity?
Everything, because everything's technology.
Are people in control of Christianity?
Everything he says is definitionally true, but that doesn't mean it's objectively true.
So people are Christianity. So Christianity is no more than what people do.
Well, I understand that, Andrew. The reason I'm asking is because he used different terms throughout the debate for what Christians require. He said that.
Why are you talking about me like I'm not here? Are you fucking
retarded? Well, Adam, focus on ask one. You have maybe one more follow up, and then we'll go to other callers.
Okay, I will.
You're just gonna have a private conversation with Andrew. What the fuck is wrong
I
with
will
you,
just ask my question to Andrew, because I think I actually broadly agree with the points I think the Machine Lies was trying to make, but I think he did a very poor job of making the points.
The question, please.
well, I think you're
the question. Okay.
And I think you don't know how to ask questions.
So Andrew, do you think that on like a broad scale, people don't necessarily understand like what is going on in the world in terms of like broader systems?
Yeah, I think on the macro they struggle, but on the micro they're pretty good.
Okay, well,
Why that distinction?
Well-
Just because it's an impossibility when you're talking about things that are global, like global politics. Even people who can study a single demographic or region of politics and become an expert, it's virtually impossible to become a global expert, though.
At what point does a microsystem become a macro system?
It's a subjective delineation point.
Yeah, no
we're
shit.
kind of
Yeah,
we're
no
just,
shit. Yeah, no
yeah,
shit is
but so
subjective,
what?
totally
It doesn't
subjective.
take away from any points. So
Yeah, it's a totally subjective delineation. It totally takes away from
yeah.
your point.
So the thing is like so's porn, but you know what that is, don't you? What's the delineation between porn and art? You know what? You know that it exists, but you can't tell me what it is. So shut the fuck up. And back
Art
to you,
has-
Adam.
No, art has created a monoculture in this fucking world,
So
and you think that human beings are in control of that? That's fucking ridiculous.
Wait.
So shut the fuck up.
There's nothing you can say about art's not true of porn. I asked you specifically, what's the delineation between art and porn?
Technology is creating art.
What's the delineation
That's the
point
fucking
between
difference.
art and porn?
Retard.
Answer my question. What's the delineation point between art and porn?
The technology, the camera, motherfucker.
You can have camera for art. There's no camera you can use for porn. You can't use for art. What's the delineation point? It's subjective, but you know that there is one, and you know it when you see it. So when you say micro to macro, we're talking about these things. Totally fine to talk about on these levels because we know what we're talking about. We know what that means.
Can I get to the point I was trying to make?
Yeah, most people think, some people think movies are porn. Some people think music videos are porn.
That's
some
right.
People think it's complete nonsense what the fuck you're saying, dude.
No, it's not. You just made my point for me.
Based on
some people think this is porn
at all. It's based on a totally fleeting standard.
Bro, listen.
Once you film somebody, once you film somebody,
you can film a naked person and it's not porn.
Yeah, it totally curtails the fact that you're prostituting them. You can call it porn.
You can film
the technological use completely changes the act. What part of that don't you fucking understand?
Let me get this right. So let's say you have a camera and you're filming a naked person for the purposes of science. Let's say they have to be naked and you have to film them to figure out where damage on their body is. Is that pornography?
Why would it be?
Right, exactly. It wouldn't be, but it's under the same conditions of what you just said would constitute pornography. So what's the delineation point?
Yeah,
you did. You said once the camera's involved.
You said where you delineate technology is subjective, and I said then you have no definition of it.
No, that's not even what happened. What I said, you said, what's the delineation between micro and macro? And I said, in the case of culture and things like this, it's subjective. The delineation subjective. And you said,
no, the delineation is not subjective.
Then where does it become macro? Where does it become macro?
Putting women on display is porn, point blank. If you haven't figured that out, you're dumb as fuck.
Okay, well, whatever. I just gave you an example where it's not porn, and you would agree
you're not very Christian either if you haven't figured that out.
I just gave you an example where it's not porn, and you agreed it's not porn. Do you want to reconcile that real quick?
That filming a dead person is not porn.
Filming a naked individual for the purposes of trying to find injury, is that pornography?
That's not what pornography is, but why would it change anything?
Because it fits the criteria of what you're talking about. For the second you put the human body on display naked and film it, it's porn. It's not. That's ridiculous. There's a delineation point.
It depends on who's looking at that footage.
Right. It depends. It's subjective. It's a subjective standard. And so it's okay that it's a subjective standard. We still know that there's a difference between the two, even if it's a subjective standard.
Well, to what use would you film a naked body? I do think that is porn.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can I
Caller, your
I
changed my mind.
Porn. Okay. So I'm just gonna skip to the part where I explain what my point is. Andrew, while I certainly agree that humans have control over technology in the way that I think you're using the term technology as, things people make. I also think it's true that broadly all of these technologies come together to create a much larger system that while it is certainly true that humans have control over, that system itself has a level of control over humans and takes agency away from them on an individual level, as in each individual person doesn't have control over the system and doesn't know how the system works in a meaningful way. This is, I believe, the Landian critique or the Landian understanding of capitalism and accelerationism. And I think that this is more or less true. Like, say the government, you can have a single senator who understands his own office, but he doesn't necessarily he does not understand all the intricacies of the entire system, and that system will push that person around, even though he has a great degree of control. And I do think, at least to a degree, this would mean that humans lack control over the systems as a whole, each individual human. But yeah, that is my point.
Yeah, so I would like to actually get into that with you more because I don't agree. But I think that as we dive into kind of these individual structures that you think are outside of our control that make up this entirety of a system, that's not actually the correct way to look at it. But rather, these are all independent tendrils which are controlled and many times guided shrewdly by human beings.
All right. Well,
So that would be my contention.
More,
Yeah, that would be my contention back. But thanks for the call in, Adam. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Well, I didn't mean to cut him off. Yeah.
It's okay to cut him off.
That's right.
Welcome, caller. Do you have questions?
He's like most base thing a caller says right when he hits he's like, yeah, you can cut him off. Fuck him.
Yeah, he's got the hooded, poofy hair emo pic. I'm over him. So, like, you can slap like a man and a woman on this planet with loincloths on naturally. Now, when they manipulate the natural environment to like help their practical aims, that is technology. Like,
I agree
it's not
with that.
technology because a monkey picked up a sharp stick. I think technology.
I think that's broadly how people think of technology and how I think of it. So at the beginning of the debate, like I said, to the machine lies, which he harped on the rest of it, which cracked me up. Said under the definition and purview of what you think is technology, X would be true. Then from there he said, you just said it was true. And I never said it. I'm just saying it's called an internal critique. So I broadly agree with that kind of purview for what technology is.
Right. And if you guys are debating, is technology needed or detrimental to the religious life? Like, well, everything's technology in his side of the debate, so I guess it would be required if that. But are you guys not just debating the amorality of technology? Because anything made for good, I can probably think of a way to use it in a nefarious manner.
Yeah, I'm neutral. I literally am neutral and think that technology is the effect of people's will. So technology itself, I would say, is neither evil nor good. It's neither thing because only people can be those things.
So I'd personally say that all technology is upping the challenge to the role your deity deems you live. Like, if you don't have the prawn, you're not tempted by the prawn. So we have interactive prawn now because obviously we're ready for that challenge. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't necessarily even disagree with that, but I guess my overarching point would just be technology is just a tool. It's not a behavior. Mm-hmm. It's none of those things. It's just a tool. And how you use the tool, just like in the example of the gun, it can be used to represent the empire or the freedom fighter. It doesn't matter either way. It's because it's really ultimately a gun's just a tool, like every other form of technology.
Yeah, and there's some paintings on the walls of the Podesta brothers that required no camera, and I would probably hurt those guys if I...
All right. We can't get into all that. Come on, dude. Anyway.
Richie, are you there?
Yes. Sorry about that.
Welcome.
Hi.
What's up?
Your time will come.
My time, yeah. I just got to say, regardless of the outcome of this debate, this topic is super, super interesting to me, and it deserves way more likes and clicks. Really appreciate you guys broaching this topic. Machine lies, I appreciate the sentiment and where you're coming from. I think I would typically err more on your side than Andrew's, but you have some glaring flaws in your logic, and I just wanted to point one of them out. When Adam called in earlier. You had said he had sarcastically asked you if so technology is everything, and your quote was yes. And then like later on, you argued that it wasn't actually. So I like rewinded it back, and I just want to let you know that yeah,
is
you
God
did say
is God part of everything?
that. Yeah.
So then you believe in monism.
Well, no, I get it, but like then you could say that
So you're the monist, not me.
It's like a redundant. It's a redundant. Like
That's
why
not
do we have
monism.
definitions? Why do we have definitions for anything, right? Like
Well,
technology.
you said it's Gnosticism and monism, which are two different things. You don't understand either.
No, that would be a Gnostic view. Yeah, and it would be it'd be both and.
No. Those
Yeah.
two are incredibly separate things.
No, there's Gnostic branches which believe in monism. I don't know what to tell you that you didn't know that. I'm sorry you didn't know that.
Which one? Which one is it? Which one is it?
Gnostics who don't dream.
Which Gnostic branch
I don't
believes in
remember the
monism?
sect, but one of the sects believes
Well,
that
hold on. Which
they're
sect? Which sect are you
Let me
talking
just
about?
explain what they believe, fucker.
What fucking sect are you talking about, man?
Because I'm supposed to remember everything on planet Earth.
Oh yeah.
But
You said there's Gnostic sects that believe in monism.
There
And I asked you
are.
which fucking one?
No, I can't remember
Wait,
it.
gentlemen, I'll
can't
cut you
remember
off.
What
Actually,
they believe.
I love the fireworks.
You can't remember that shit.
But I don't think it's relevant
forgot.
to the debate. It's like it's
Right.
not really
You
relevant. Let's focus on the actual
remember the
topic.
dude Chuck's name, but you remember the conversation.
No,
that means the conversation
every
never
Gnostic
happened.
group in Earth believes on ontological transcendence. They are not monists by definition. That is bullshit.
No, some of them
You
believe.
don't understand
that,
Gnosticism
some
at
of them
all.
believe. Shut the fuck up and,
And
let
you
me
can't
talk.
name which one is Gnostic. What the fuck are you talking
Okay,
about?
the machine lies.
All right. Well, now you can't
if
talk.
you guys
so
really
I'm
want to
gonna
explore,
finish. So I'm going to finish.
yeah.
So let me
please,
explain
Andrew,
this
finish
so
on
that
that
you
point.
understand. There is a Gnostic sect which believes that their independent dreams make them the ultimate God, and that all their gods must follow them, and that all things are them. That would be monism. So sorry. That's all. That's oneness. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there's a sect which believes that. So now you had to hear it. I'm sorry that you had to hear that, but it is true.
Which sect was it? Which sect was it?
Just because I can't remember doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's because I can't remember the name of the sect. You know, from fucking 1,000 years ago. I can't remember everything on planet Earth.
Terrible.
Gnosticism believes that there's gods that exist in a separate reality that
No,
influence
sure.
this world.
Yeah,
How the
and
fuck are they monists?
Christians don't believe in predeterminism, right?
Well, to be
Well,
fair,
wait,
the
some of
machine
them
There's
do.
lies.
Christians who do believe in
Some of them-
predeterminism.
That's right. There's some that do, and there's some that don't. There's some that believe this.
Yeah,
and
you
there's
just
some that
think
believe
you're-
that,
you just
dumb
think you're
fucking
the right one.
bastard.
Well, hold on.
What I'm
I
saying
make
to
a point.
you,
You
what I'm
think you're
saying
the
to
right
you is
one.
that when you say Gnostics believe this, there's not just one form of Gnosticism. That's my
Well,
point.
Gnostics aren't even really Gnostics. They're actually technology.
Well, that's true too.
Right. So anyway, so that's the point I was making, man. Is like you have to. I get where you're coming from, or I don't actually agree with your perspective. I understand it. Well, I'd have to think about it more. I understand kind of what you're saying, but you still need these delineations of words, right? Like words mean things. And I know you said that you don't find the dictionary definitive, and like I understand that, and that they change the fucking definitions of words all the time. But the reason that we have definitions, the reason that we have a vernacular or a lexicon, is so we can define things and like talk about them.
Yeah, I use many words and definitions. Which one of my definitions do you agree with, sir?
Tons of them. Just I don't agree
which
with your
one? Like which one?
definition.
Like which one? You got anything off the top of your head?
The word one that you just used, I agree with that.
The word one.
Yeah.
You disagree with the definition of the word
Also
one.
the
Wow, that's
also
incredibly abstract,
definition.
my friend.
Also the word definition, I agree with. Well, maybe not, because
Fascinating.
you have a different idea of what definitions are.
You disagree with the word definition. Fascinating.
Well, maybe, because if you think that technology means literally everything, then what's the point of having the
There.
word technology?
Okay, by the way,
But what
I
is this
just
word
looked-
definition?
Hang on. I just looked it up for you. It's called
What's the definition of
Valentinian.
definition?
It's called Valentinian Gnosticism. Valentinian. Now you know.
They're not monists.
They
they're
are
not fucking
by
monists.
definition.
They're
by
not fucking
definition,
monists. Oh my god, you just made that shit up.
Oh.
Valentinians don't believe there's one reality by no fucking stretch of the imagination. I studied Valentinianism, and
Okay,
you
well,
are a fraud.
They describe themselves as monists, so I don't know what
That's
to tell you.
Gentlemen, as
That's
much as I
bullshit. They're not
I'm
monists, my
enjoying
friend.
this,
Valentinians are not monists. They're staunchly dualistic.
the debate does
There's
not
one
hinge on
branch
this
that's
point.
dualistic, and there's one branch that's monistic.
but you just said they're all
Even though the
monistic.
debate is
But you
over.
don't know what the fuck
I
you're
just
talking
said that
about.
this type of that's monistic is called Valentinian. Whether or
And
not
it's
there's
not.
another
And
branch of
that's
Valentinians
completely
that are
false.
dualistic is
That's
fine.
completely false. I'll debate you on
not.
whether Valentinian Gnosticism is monist. That's bullshit.
I mean, I got it from a fucking
I'm
Gnostic
sure.
himself.
I'm sure everybody in
I
chat
have a
will
book
be
that says it's not.
extremely
Whatever.
interested in that debate.
Shut the fuck up.
Richie, do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah. So just briefly, Andrew, you were talking with the last caller. Like I said earlier, I believe that I'm more sympathetic to the machine lies point, generally speaking, in that I think technology has gone too far, and I do realize that it is just a tool, and that's actually a very interesting last point that the guy made. It's like harder challenges from God kind of thing, but it's gotten to the point where the people that are of this world are, in my opinion, I think that they're creating mass psychological warfare on the people that are trying their best to not be of this world.
Who are the people that are of this world?
Um.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know what coded language I can use. Just evil people in general. Do you think that like maybe they have gotten so much power that sort of a collapse is imminent as far as technology is concerned? I guess I was kind of hoping to hear more about that.
No, I don't think anything's ever imminent. It would surprise you to know that I have a surprising amount of what's called hope, and that when I look,
Is the return of Jesus imminent?
When I look throughout, well, imminent meaning immediate, or imminent meaning someday. Which definite? Well, give me your definition of imminent first.
It means some fucking day, dude. It doesn't mean right now, bitch.
So someday, yes, someday, but that doesn't mean today, or tomorrow, or Thursday, or next Friday, right? One day. But I have a great deal of hope that until that happens, which I can't do anything about anyway. Okay, I have a great deal of hope in the human experience. I think that people generally are pretty good. I've talked to thousands and tens of thousands of people all over planet Earth.
I'll say hope is not enough.
Shut up, dude, and let me answer the fucking question. Let me answer this guy's question before you open your big stupid fucking mouth.
Wilson, go ahead.
Stupid fucking mouth with your stupid ass comments. You're not even saying anything. So over to you, Richie. Yeah, I have a great deal of hope for people. I don't think that I think even when things go to shit, I seem to see people kind of come together and do what they can do for each other far more than I think that people get this Hollywood idea in their brains of like fucking everything is always Mad Max. You know what I mean? But when I look at the historic record, that's not what I see. I don't see Mad Max. I see kind of these small dark ages that come around and they don't last that long, followed by kind of prosperous ages that do last a long time. And then we go back to these kind of small dark ages. I don't know that there's ever really been a collapse as much as there's just been a continuous string of either revolutions or renaissance.
Well, for 90% of humanity,
collapses.
Well, for 90% of humanity's history, we have never lived at this level of technology.
Well,
so your historical critique
at any point in humanity's history, they've never lived at that point of technology. You dumb fuck. There's no point.
So how could you compare it to history? So how could you compare it to the there's long age of prosperous, the long age to short dark ages? How the fuck can you make that historical critique?
They're all dealing with
when we've never experienced this stage of technology?
I'm trying to answer you.
Hold on. Now I'm responding to what the fuck you said, and you won't let me talk.
Don't ask me questions and then refuse to let me answer them. The answer to your question, and then I'll just unmute you and you can ask me whatever the fuck you want. But the answer to your question is very simple. It's very fucking simple. Now, I'm going to unmute you so that you can fucking spurg more, but I'm just telling you, every point in history is you're living with more technology than at any other fucking point in history. So I can still look at the historic record and say that the sequence and pattern seems to be the exact same no matter what form of technology and technological advancement there is.
And the machine lies, if you want to get 2 minutes for this without Andrew interrupting, you have them right now.
Yeah, you know what? I was muted in the middle of what I was saying, and I lost my train of thought. And we could have responded to it right there, but fuck you guys for muting me. Eat my shit. Have a nice fucking day. God is on my
Wait,
side,
wait.
and eat my shit, motherfucker.
That wasn't my doing. It was Andrew, and he will be punished for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't have
You're
control
afraid.
over mute.
You're afraid of what I had to say. You're afraid of what I had to say.
Well, say what you had to say. You just forgot it though, because you're stoned.
No, thank you. I was saying it, and you didn't want to fucking listen. Now it's over, motherfucker.
You cut in, but I was
It's
talking.
another example of a thing I didn't get.
Richie, do you have another statement or question?
Yeah.
Me muting you is an example of technology.
No.
going evil.
You get to give this long spiel, and then the minute I respond to it, you start muting me. Everybody,
the machine lies.
Ted-
it wasn't Andrew's
Ted was right.
decision.
The fucking mute button has gone too far.
Andrew was determined to use the mute button. It wasn't his
You're
choice.
afraid of what I had to say. You're a scared little bitch. You keep muting me. Shut the fuck up.
Andrew, real quick, you said every day there's better technology, which I would grant you, except Atlantis, motherfucker. Checkmate.
Oh yeah, what was I thinking? Stupid.
All right, that's all I have. Thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Take care. I actually figured out my follow-up. Oh, we have Neurojack. Excellent. Neurojack, are you here?
I'm here. How are you guys?
What's up?
Excellent. Your question.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed a little bit of the debate, so forgive me. I need a, if I'm kind of repeating something that somebody else said. I think it's a very interesting topic, and I just want to commend you guys for trying to get through it. But I want to ask a question kind of both of you, but I kind of want to come at it from a different angle. So I'll ask Machine Lies the question, a different question, and Andrew can respond as well. Given that you think that collapse is inevitable anyways, what do you think we ought to do without Fed posting? What do you think, what is your ought claim for humans that we should do? And I would say to Andrew, what do you think is, and for Andrew, I would say basically, what is the role of humans based either on your worldview or on the worldview that you're trying to defend?
Did you want to field that first, Machine Lies?
Yeah. I think that the collapse is inevitable, and actually it that's why there's this biblical narrative that the end of times is going to come, and then there's this many-headed beast named the Leviathan. You cut off one of its heads, and another one and another three grow back. Well, this is nothing more than a metaphor for the technological society. It constitutes a kind of a hydra, and I think the way that it functions is to use human beings as kind of a battery power system, exist as a higher order on top of human society that actually manipulates society, the goals of society itself, because technology actually links many different societies together. So so when the system is actually going to collapse, because all systems collapse, there is actually no example of a system that has lasted forever, and there never will be a system that lasts for all time. And since this collapse is inevitable, granted, these kingdoms are not utopian in any sense, and they constitute change and entropy and all of those factors that constitute closed systems. Then I guess the optimal way to do that would be to collapse with the system and not against it. The more we try to reform the system, stop it from collapsing, the more we just create compensatory mechanisms that make the problem worse.
Yeah. Do you have any follow-ups, Neurojack, or Andrew? Do you want to respond to that as well?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of get Andrew's same question of like, what do you think humans' role?
So notice that you asked for a prescription and you just got a description again, right? It's just endless descriptions. So whether or not when me and the Machine Lies can agree that the collapse of a system will be inevitable, right? And I agree that nothing lasts forever due to erosion and just the law of entropy itself. But that doesn't mean the collapse is going to happen tomorrow, right? Or
I didn't say it will. I didn't say it will.
I didn't say you did. So, or next Thursday.
Why
or
the
next,
fuck are you saying that and then laughing at it?
Why don't you let me fucking finish what I'm saying? Like, remember how I
Okay,
didn't
buddy.
interrupt you? Remember how I didn't interrupt you and let you answer the caller's question? Do you want to let me do that, or do you
Yeah,
want-
and then when I was responding to you earlier, you started muting me.
I muted you once because you're a spurg fucking. You're
Yeah,
spurg,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Okay.
You're a
Okay.
fucking spurg.
You were. Yeah. Okay.
When it gets to the point where it's so incoherent, you can't even have a conversation. One person needs to talk at a time. I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, back to the caller's questions. Always descriptive with this guy. It's never prescriptive. So just so that
I
you
gave a
understand,
prescription. You just didn't hear it somehow.
what's the prescription?
That you collapse with the system. That the collapse is inevitable.
To not. The prescription was to not fight it.
Yeah. So the prescription is just like
not reform it.
It's fucking crazy to me. Okay, so the prescriptions do nothing.
How do you plan on reforming the system?
Well, I was trying to answer the question. Whenever you're ready to let me.
Okay.
Are you sure I can now? Or are you going to cut me off?
And go ahead.
Okay, I'll do that. But you did ask me to, right? I just want to make sure you weren't being facetious.
No, I wasn't being facetious. You could do.
Okay, so since you weren't being facetious, so to answer your question directly, always, of course, make sure that you have things that are stockpiled and things like this for you. But more importantly, don't forget that the most important thing you can do is try to work within the confines of what exists in order to change the will of people. You could do this politically, you can do this locally, and you don't have to necessarily fear technological advance. That's what panic mongers will tell you to do, but you don't need to. Or accelerationists, they're fucking stupid too. Changing the hearts and minds of people who are in control of technology is how you ultimately control the fate, right? And that's what will to power is through politics, right? Changing hearts and minds of people. So that's what my recommendation would be. Start with people because they're ultimately the arbiters of technology. It's just that the machine lies thinks that people are technology. So remember, he told me to mute him, by the way, so you can't get mad.
So I noticed a few things, and I want to keep my points very concise. I expected you guys to answer from a theological standpoint, and I'm surprised that you guys didn't. And it's probably a good thing that you didn't, but I just wanted to point that out. I expected a theological answer, and I didn't get that. But that's okay. That's probably for another time.
I almost always keep my arguments confined to the secular.
Yeah, I try to in general as well, usually, even though I do have a theological framework, right? But so here's my follow-up question. Machine lies, would it be fair to say that and again, I know that you guys don't want to get into the free will debate, but would you say in general that you don't think humans have, I don't want to say free will, but they lack agency, but you think that technology has more agency than humans? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, I think that in the very sense that I described, that since technology mediates human behavior, and since it is the main mediator of human behavior at this point, because it's running human-based systems such as communication and transportation, well, then it seems like to a certain extent, technology is manipulating and controlling human agency. Technology is a two-way street. Once you use a sword, then not only do you have to use it the way it's designed, but the whole process of using a sword to attack constitutes a process of doing it a certain way. So I don't think that as I described earlier, that power is the same as control, and freedom is the same as choice.
Yeah, and Andrew, I would, if you have a response, I mean, basically what I'm asking is, what I kind of saw is it seems as if Andrew thinks only humans have agency / free will, and you think that technology doesn't, and it seems that it's the opposite for machine lies. So I might be misconstruing what you guys are saying, but that's kind of what I saw as the.
Well, he thinks that humans are technology as well. He He thinks everything's a technology. Animals are
Everything
technology.
is in control of
Everything.
everything is being ultimately under the control of God. Now you might be say that there's somebody who can manipulate the code in during let's say a Minecraft game, but the person who designed the game is not the same as somebody who masters it. The person who designed the game knows every possible move, whereas somebody who is a good player at the game is simply functioning well within the designs.
Sometimes players find things that the designers didn't intend. And this happens all the time in video games.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah, that happens all the time. They call them bug controllers. And so sometimes they don't understand the stability of a system. Bug controllers will go in
and how do you know that wasn't programmed in?
Well, because if it was programmed in, they wouldn't need bug controllers, right? Why would they have to have people come in to test and for the controls if it was programmed in that was supposed to happen?
So they're not in control of the bugs.
Wait, the machine lines, that's actually like a key feature of really, really good games. Magic the Gathering is one great example. Many of the interactions that emerged out of that game were completely unplanned by the developers. And then I think Guild Wars was a computer game that took that concept. And a major joke was that they proposed players how to play the game on in the manual of the game, and it became the biggest joke because everything they proposed was garbage, and only the things that were later discovered unplanned by people were actually the things people used.
And the
keyword is unplanned.
Yeah, they are still in control. Just because there's certain points, just like when you're driving an automobile, you're in control, but you can have technology fail and spiral out of control quickly, and you can regain control of it, or sometimes maybe even you can't regain control of it for a time. But it's not a bifurcation of either you have total control or you have none. That's insane. It's not bifurcated that way. You can't just
admit
be
it's both.
You can't.
You admit that you have control and you don't have control. You just said that.
I've said this 100
did you admit that
times
and
already.
Then not concede me the argument. What the fuck are you talking about?
I can't concede to you an argument that human beings are not in control of technology.
They have control and they don't have control.
They're mostly in control minus malfunction. That's it.
Minus malfunction.
Minus malfunction, which
so we
can
don't
happen.
Control the malfunctions within the system.
Well, actually, you do control for for the most part, a malfunction. It's just human error. Like you controlled it and the malfunction happened due to your error, but you did have the control, which created the malfunction to begin with. That was error, not lack of control.
Error is lack of control, friend.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's pretty similar.
Tell me how it is. Tell me how error is lack of control.
When you make a mistake, obviously people don't intend to make mistakes, my friend.
So
is there such thing as intended mistakes?
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. How error
is there such thing as intended mistakes, Andrew?
Yeah, I think there can be. There can be baked into the pie of a project. Some type of mathematical formula that would encompass X amount of mistakes that you think
control and not control. This is fucking bullshit.
Stop asking me fucking questions and then refusing to let me answer them.
I'm sorry. Don't get mad.
Bro, I can't get one sentence in before you cut me off. You can develop systems. This happens all the time in machinery where you do encompass that there's a good chance that mistakes are going to be made. So you are intending to develop this system to encompass mistakes. Yeah.
All right, caller, do you have a follow-up?
I want to lay out just a quick scenario and just get you guys' reaction. And I just realized one thing. It's interesting because Andrew actually has a lot of experience with machines and with robotics. And so it's interesting because I didn't even really think about that going into this. So I just think that's interesting. And I really want to ask you guys, how do you think that your theology influences your opinion on this matter? But maybe that's not a fair question. So let me throw out a scenario. You guys can go to that if you want, and I'll jump off for your answer. But let's just take the scenario from like Terminator 2 of Skynet. Let's say that let's say that the defense of the United States builds a defense system that's supposed to stop incoming missiles from nuclear whatever, right? And let's say that through some bug in the system, or colloquially we'll just say it becomes self-aware and decides that humans are not needed, however you want to slice it. Let's just say that scenario plays out and human life is in danger because the technology has reached this point, whether it's from human error or whether it's from it's just a possibility. How would you guys see that is the right way for humans to try to mitigate that? And if you want to get into theology, great. If you don't, that's fine. But I'll jump off, and thanks for guys having me on. Doing a good job.
There's all kinds of like mitigation programs that in systems that people implement with the development of technology, even moral codes which go into it, like the rules for robotics, things like this. Whether or not people adhere to them or not is an entirely different thing. I mean, we program robots to kill people all the time, and they work very effectively to kill people. We also program robots to protect people. So it really just kind of depends on what the developer wants and what their intentionality with this type of machinery is. So I'd say that Skynet was developed by people who made critical errors. The machine itself was never evil because the machine doesn't even have the capacity for that. Evil takes mind and intention. The machine is subject to its program. It can never go past its programming. Like it's so hard, I think, for people to understand that technology and machinery and every fucking thing that you see that operates, which is mechanical, that I fixed with my whole fucking life, cannot operate outside of the purview of how a person programs it or creates it to operate. It can only malfunction. It can only malfunction. That's it. That's my answer.
I actually remembered my prior question. I don't know if we have time to, and we'll also have some super chats.
Yeah, we got to get to the super chats.
We got my brother. Time. We got my brother trying to ask a question too.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
But you could go first, Casimir, if you want.
No, it's fine. I'll keep it for last.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to begin with this question. Earlier in the debate, you brought up that we have a moral duty to save people because we now have science to save them.
No.
Yeah, you did. You said that.
No. What I said was that we have a deontological duty, I think, to try to help people who want to live.
I thought that's what I just said, but anyways,
that's not what you just said, but fair enough. Go ahead.
So for centuries that people did not have those technologies, they were neglecting their deontological duty and they were living negligent of those deontological duties.
That doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. How does it follow?
Okay. I've got another question. Firstly, I want to give credit in the chat. It was Illumitami who put this in the chat when you were talking about the Amish, that the Amish are a living example that we can control how much technology we live with. But he said something true. He said that what if the Amish were to be hit with a nuclear bomb? They would have had no control over that. That is an advance in technology that had influence on their lives, you know?
Yeah.
How would you answer to that?
So the same thing could be said about like an Amazonian tribe in the rainforest who has no real access to any form of technology, right? A nuclear bomb could hit them too. Yes, it's true that you don't have control over other people's will. Other people can do extreme damage to you, but that nuclear bomb didn't set itself off. It didn't launch itself, and it didn't blow itself up in that forest or in that Amish community. A person did that. A person did that, not the technology. A human being eradicated you.
Yeah, but ever since the first man who created the nuclear bomb, any country was able to access that technology and create nuclear bombs. Now North Korea has nuclear bombs. Every country has them.
Yeah, people have them.
Yeah, but now that the technique, the invention of a nuclear bomb was created, anybody can take advantage of it. It's
People.
the nuclear bomb controlling
Yeah.
the situation.
No, the
No.
people are still controlling the situation.
No, they're not. You cannot get everybody to just put down their nuclear bombs. That's
All right.
impossible.
So let me ask
can't
you a
just convince them
question.
that.
Do you guys have a gun in the house?
Huh?
Do you have a gun in your house?
Yeah, I don't. I don't want to get too personal, man.
A
But
toy gun. Do you have a toy gun in your house?
yeah, I probably. No, it's
Yeah,
whatever.
because if you have
It's
a toy
whatever.
gun in your house,
all
I
right.
want you to command the toy gun.
Go with a different question, buddy.
want
Go,
you
go
to
with a different fucking
command-
question. Asking
I-
kids whether they have weapons and shit, man. What the fuck are
Okay,
you
a
talking
toy
about?
gun. I want you to
A
command,
pencil.
I want you a pencil, whatever. I want you to command the toy gun to shoot somebody. Command it to. Will it? Will the gun get up and shoot somebody, or do you have to do that?
Yeah, you can create a gun that's self-automated, and you can hook up a gun to an AI and tell it to watch for certain things and shoot those things.
So
And
so
there's no
you can
human
do
arm in that,
X.
dude. That's an
so
AI
you can do
controlling that.
X. So you can do X. So you have done this. A person has done this. A person has programmed this. A person has launched this. A person's always behind the trigger on all of these effects every single time.
No, I just said it was a robot controlling it. You didn't answer
Yeah,
that.
who made the
AI thing,
robot,
you didn't-
bro?
What?
Who built the robot?
Yeah, it's no longer in the creator's control.
How is it no longer in the creator's
That's in
control?
a children's cartoon in Dragon Ball Z when the dude creates the android and it kills him. That's in children's cartoons, dude. You didn't get that?
So like in a futurist sci-fi reality where we can create robots with autonomy, they might be able to kill people.
Yes. They're
Well, when
creating
that-
AI right now. I
When,
don't know
when
what
that
you're talking about.
happens, when that happens, and we have autonomous android robots who have their own free will, then I guess we'll discuss it then. But that's not the state of technology today.
Can I get another question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Cole.
All right. So, let's say I'd like to use an example this time. Another example. Let's say somebody wrote in ancient times a controversial group of books shitting on traditional values, and everybody in attempt to burn these books. So everybody tries to burn these books, but they put them in a vault, like underground, and so for future generations to eventually read them. And you said earlier in the debate that there's no place that ideas can live without humans. A book can do that. Those future generations will still be influenced by
can't do
people's
it.
ideas because they were put into stone and
Yeah,
locked away.
A book can't do that. So
It
think
can.
about
Those
gonna
future generations
explain-
will read it and leave their traditional
you
values.
keep
You have to
making
burn those books.
assertions. You make these assertions, but they don't actually follow. So if you say a book can do that, a book can't, because a person must then read the book. It's still people, both sides. On both sides, you're communicating over a vast time difference, sure, but it's still a human being writing and a human being reading. The conveyance of information doesn't even exist external of humanity. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, so if you believe in free will and you believe that people have a choice whether or not to read the book, don't you think there will be certain people who do anything to get their hands on the book? They'll actually hurt other people, like because they believe in that. They believe that traditional values should be destroyed. Maybe what if there's an organized group of people that decided that to overthrow it, like
To overthrow what?
the traditional values with those books? What if they? All right, forget it. It's fine. Yeah, here.
Well, I appreciate the
Damn, you
question,
can't
man.
even fucking win against a 16-year-old, dude. It's fucking crazy.
One day, man, one day I'll become skilled enough at debate to win against a 16-year-old.
For real.
But that day was not today.
Not in this one. Christ man likes fighting uphill battles.
Hmm.
And this was one of them.
Was it didn't feel like a hard battle to me, to be honest with you. But I
Yeah.
mean, fair enough.
Yeah. Rewatch it where you contradicted yourself like 7 or 8 times.
Well, why don't you clip all the contradictions and I'll clip all of yours?
Oh yeah. No doubt. I'll do it for you.
That's a
do
great
it.
idea. I do have a question. I remember during the debate, the machine lies, and you were talking about like pornography, whether you must watch pornography or not. And I did build a couple of competing frameworks in my mind that I want to explore with Andrew, and maybe the machine lies will pitch in. So I've listed a whole bunch of ways in which I'm dependent on society. So like as with 50% of the world's population, my food is based on like factory production of fertilizers. There's various government systems that influence the economy with control of some people, but basically without my direct control. There's mass medical treatments. There's various ways in which, even if I decide to become an agorist and disengage from that as much as possible, I'm never truly free of it. Also, I have to interact as a communal being. I have to interact with people that potentially do watch porn. If I am trying to find a woman to marry, then I would have to interact with all the media that I don't consume, but she, for example, will likely consume, right? So all of that is, in some sense, I would agree that there might be some conspiracy or a cathedral of people that are influencing and putting all of that world together, right? But also those people seem to be mess ups that are led by the system that they create more than their own will. Like, yeah, there's some guy who says you will, eat the bugs and be happy, but it doesn't seem like this centrally planned world that they plan to create is actually getting created. So I do see this kind of thing that's happening where we're all cogs in the system, and there's like a competing theories of who's in control, Andrew. But are we really?
I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I asked my dad this similar question to what you're asking right now. Way different words, and it was way shorter, right? He said, "Just never forget that one man can change the world," and he's right. They can. And there are rays of hope everywhere. There are men who go against whatever you think that the cogs and the bad systems are. And oftentimes they prevail. Many times they don't, but sometimes they do. Those are the rays of hope who are running around. And yes, you can change the will of people. You can change the direction, and you can offer new systems, which people resist at first and then begin to follow, which are better systems. And Christianity has freed entire societies of mental slavery. I think that the Machine Lies would argue that his religion has done the exact same thing, has uplifted and gotten rid of kind of baseline systems and machines and bad orders of things. So
Yeah,
I understand.
What you hear is a bunch of prescriptions without any descriptions how.
All right, the Machine Lies. Then I have a question for you. So I know you said you're a determinist, and I'm sort of I also believe in determinism, but I'm call myself a compatibilist. So, do you believe that that you have a perspective on determinism? Say, I'll give you an example. Can you give me a thumbs up into the camera, like so?
Well, I'm not your monkey, brother Casimir. I will not do as you say. But whether I want to or not, I believe has nothing to do with whether I wanted to. I think that I was called to do it. Just as I'm called to fight against the specter of technology, there are certain people who are called by God. Other people are led astray by God.
No, they're not. It's predetermined.
This is how it is. One vessel is made for glory, and another is made for God's wrath. That's just how life goes.
So God punishes people in order to demonstrate how awesome He is.
Everything that happens in the universe happens solely for God's pleasure.
Yeah. He made people so that He could torture them.
It's not torture because He made them.
Yeah, He made them to send them to hell. That's what He made people for. He made people so that He could send them to an eternal damnation. He made people to be serial killers. That's what He made them for.
No, He made them to prosper. When they turn against God, then they're led astray through their own disobedience. God makes sure
that's all predetermined. That's all predetermined. So if it's predetermined, then God made evil people.
No, people are evil.
Well, then, but that's predetermined that they be evil.
So
So then God made evil.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Because-
He predetermined it.
No, people are evil. God made people, so he allowed them to engage in a
He
certain
doesn't
amount
allow
of
them
evil.
to do anything. It's predetermined.
No. Does God control you?
No, he gave me free will.
God doesn't control you.
No.
So God is not in control of you.
No, he gave me free will, and I give my will over to God.
No, I
In
think you're
fact,
wrong.
in fact, he's made sure. In fact, that's the covenant he made with us. Is that he's that's what free will is.
I had a follow up for you, the machine lines, and then for Andrew as well. Maybe the machine lines first. We understand the concept of determinism and free will, but do we ever get the perspective of it? Meaning, I can code a simulation of a robot right now. Like Andrew can actually make a robot probably, and from the perspective of the robot, and the robot might even make a robot like a little AI that can actually comprehend or like can be coded to refer to itself, right? But the outside perspective, do you believe that the outside perspective, like that a human can have an outside perspective on their own determinism, or is that only a divine perspective?
That's essentially all you have. It's what superfluously Mr. Andrew Wilson referred to as mind without defining the term.
So can I like you refuse to do the thumbs up, but can you actually understand why you refused? Can you like trace the steps? Do you have that perspective at all?
Probably not. That's exactly what I'm saying. Whether you like
so
it
what
or
does
not.
it matter? What does it matter that we're in a determinist universe if we can't calculate it, and the only being that might have that perspective is God, and nothing within our universe has the determinist perspective. Like I don't get to see my life as a timeline with all the possibilities, right? I get to live just what I'm currently detecting.
Well, technology is inherently deterministic because it encodes processes. You can't control the speed and pace of innovation.
Those are
But also,
assertions. You've never in this entire debate demonstrated either of those things as being true.
You admitted to them during the course of this debate.
You're
Yeah,
lying.
you did.
You're lying through your teeth again.
Oh, you said that the use was not optional.
No, I said under your definition, the use wouldn't be optional. I specifically said under your definition. I was very specific.
Okay.
And you're still harping on it, even though I can give you the timestamp for it even. So I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Well, we're at roughly 2.5 hours. If you want, we can go into the super chats. I'm done with my questions.
Okay. All right, let me get over to those. There's not that many. First one comes in from Stephen David for $5. He said the vaccine was developed in secret, but society has a choice on technology. Okay, bro, tiptoeing around the necessity of technology without our choice. I'm not.
Yes, you are. It's a huge cope. It's a huge fucking cope, dude. It's a huge cope.
Just saying that because some technologies can be developed in secrecy doesn't mean that those were outside the purview of human control. Those secret technologies were being controlled by humans.
That's another Orthodox Christian, by the way.
It's not
disagrees with you.
Like, how can that even be contested? Contest that. Contest that the secret technology of the vaccines were not developed by human beings secretly. Contest it.
Who was responsible for its development?
Human beings.
Which ones? All of them?
I don't know their fucking names, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, you don't know who the Gnostics are. You don't know who's in charge of that shit.
God, I'm supposed to know. Let me ask you a question.
Valentinians are monists.
Let me ask you a question. Who was the first person who spoke English?
This is ridiculous.
Who was the first person who spoke English?
Islam is Gnosticism, and Valentinians are monists.
Who was the
this
first?
Is what you get from the Crucible.
Who was the first
Total
person?
Fucking horseshit.
Who was the first person who spoke English? What was his name? But you speak English. That's not even possible. It's not. I can't believe it. What's his name? What's the name of the first guy who spoke English?
I bet you don't fucking know.
Of course I don't know. Like
Yeah, so you don't know
asking,
how or why you're speaking or using the English language.
You're asking for brand
what?
specifics, bro.
You
You're
have a
asking
choice
for
whether to
brand
speak English.
specifics.
Do you have a choice whether to speak English?
Yeah, you have a choice to speak English or not. Why would you not have that? I don't even understand. Make the argument. Make a fucking argument
in this
for how that's not true.
That's why I have to learn English. Are you fucking dumb?
No, you don't actually have to learn English.
You know what?
Like you don't, and you don't have to communicate with people in
As
society.
this debate has gotten, you know what I mean?
You don't have to do either of those things.
You know what I mean?
No, stop.
Entertainment value increases.
You need to stop and answer this fucking question. For once, answer a question. Why do you need to
so many of your
communicate with
fucking
anybody?
questions, dude? You called me a liar. You said I didn't answer your question.
Because you don't answer anything.
All you do is name call, and it's a bunch of bullshit. You don't have any premise
answer anything. You just don't.
Okay, I answered all your fucking shit, dude. Fuck you.
Why do you have to speak English? You don't have to do that. You lying fuck.
I was brought to this country, and I have to speak English.
I'm sure you were. You should go back to the thing you came from. From Clear Vision for $2.
You should go back to Ireland.
I have all of those in front of me.
Instead of the fucking place where they brought you here,
so
you could talk shit about what a cocksucker you are.
Whoa. Let's keep it civil, guys. From Clear Vision, machine lies is only okay with blunt wrap technology. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm okay with blunt wrap technology. Yeah.
From Pure Blood Anglo-Christian, I would like to see the machine lies live off-grid homestead. What do you think the machine lies? Some praxis homesteading in the woods? In a shack, perhaps?
Yeah, I believe the answer to that question is contained within this debate, and I think it's a stupid, fucking lame joke. Fuck whoever wrote that. They're a cocksucker, an idiot, a moron, a pleb, and a fucking incel, fucking zombie motherfucker, controlled by the system. Fuck you, buddy. Fuck you to the end of life.
Well, and thank you for your $5. Very important. George, for
fuck your $5. Wipe your ass with the fucking $5, bitch.
you got a lot of value, all of those. George, for $5. The machine lies. Was there an attempt to implement jab passports? Was it successful?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry.
He gave you an example. There was an attempt to implement these most recent, treatment passports. And do you think that attempt was successful? We can't name the things. It's a edgy question.
Well, I just think it's interesting that there was a global response. I think that means that there's a global system in place. I think all of the companies that invented such a technology, first of all, it's very hard to engineer such a technology. It constitutes experts from across a variety of fields. So not one person is in control of how these things are being distributed. And, there was a considerable amount of people traveling and not traveling because of this thing. So I think the travel overall was influenced. I mean, you move one grain of sand, you change the world. A butterfly flaps its wings and a storm starts. I'm talking about cause and effect. Okay, it happens on a small scale and it happens on a large scale. Small scale level events lead to large scale level events. And guess what? A travel mandate in some places affects everyone everywhere.
Okay. We have another $5 from Vile Van Gogh. Did I read it correctly? Yes, I think. Discoveries aren't technology themselves. Discoveries are knowledge and are sometimes later used as technology or technologies post-discovery.
Is that one directed at me?
There's no question mark, but it sounds like a question.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very ambiguous what the term discovery is. At one end, originality means that something is brand new. On another end, it means that something preserves freshness over time, and that can also be construed as originality. What constitutes newness? Brother Andrew already said there's nothing new under the sun, so there is no debate to be had. There is no such thing as discovery.
I can give you an example though. Like here's a discovery.
Why would you bother?
No, that's fine.
Here's
the thing. I'll try just for entertainment. So here's a discovery. There's a 4-year cycle for nuclear technology. Now, the United States discovered it in the 70s, but for 30 years has decided to not use it at all. And now it's a known technology. It's a known discovery that's not a technology yet because we don't actually have a deep understanding of how to implement it in a commercial manner. So it'll have to be the development part of the research has not been done yet. So it seems to match this example in the question. There's a discovery of something that could be useful, but we've decided not to use it.
Well, say that somebody invents something or discovers something. Who controls that? Who controls experimentation, and to what end or goal does experimentation lead to? Well, who's able to control the ethical boundaries of that? Now, science, the scientific process is open-ended. You don't know what you get when you discover new knowledge. That's why the scientific process is always inherently immoral, because it totally escapes any deontological grasp or any grasp where you can apply a framework to it that is non-technical.
All right, and we have the biggest super chat from Richie J Audio, and probably the most base statement of the entire evening. It's actually acutely ironic that lamentations for Uncle Ted are mostly shared by people who are terminally online. There is no bigger irony.
That's just a bullshit statement. You would only know about their statements of those who are terminally online. You wouldn't know the statements of people who disengage from the technological system. They have no means of communicating it. It's retarded.
Thank you for that.
Too. Hang on. They have to use the cell phone.
They have to use Twitter.
They have to use the cell phone.
Yeah, what does one mean, Richie?
They have to use it. $5 comes in from Anonymous. He says, tonight's debate, BPF versus Zigzag Man. $5 came in from Neurojack. He said, great to see this contentious debate. Gave us plebs a lot to ponder. So that's the end of the Super Chat segment. We're almost 3 hours in. I'm going to take the reins back from Kaz briefly while I do a show closer.
Can I just say something very quickly?
Yeah.
I just want to say that if I offended anybody, it's completely my fault. All of the meanness was purely theatrical. I have great respect for Brother Andrew Wilson, and if I made any mistakes, they're completely my fault. And if anything I said was correct, it came from God and not me.
It came from God?
That's right, sir.
So God was being mean to me, not you?
God is truth manifest.
He's on a mission for. Wait,
I feel like that's kind of like shifting. If you killed somebody, would you say to them, like, that wasn't me, that was God?
I'd love to debate you on that later, but that's not what I said.
Andrew, he's a blues brother. He has the shades. He's on a mission from God. That's what we have. And also, thank you, Richie. $20. Amazing.
Yeah,
bless Richie, man.
Yeah, appreciate it
for
very
real.
much. By the way,
he's a great friend of mine. For real.
Just so like you understand,
being hard on you, brother.
I literally take none of this stuff personally. I never have.
Same here. And I just want to let you know, same here.
And I never will. I do take some of the people I go after and like trash talks. Some of that I take personally because they're awful people. But like debate, the whole point of this is for it to be contentious and for us to get these ideas out there.
I'll tell you right now, Brother Wilson. If you did a trash talk on me, I would not hold it against you. I just laugh.
No. Well, everybody says that, and then I do one, and they like make it their life's mission to want to fucking kill me. But anyway,
I won't do it.
The machine lies. Take a second and shout your channel out to everybody where they can find you.
Oh, thank you so much. My channel is called The Machine Lies, where we talk about the machine that lies on the machine that is lying to you right now, my friends. And I also have a Twitter page. I'm also the author of a book, also writing another book. And you guys have a blessed night. And you can find me online. I'll be going live after this. So if Brother Wilson or Casimir or any of you brothers want to hop on and have a private conversation with me or anything like that, you feel welcome to do so. And have a blessed night, everyone.
All right, thanks, man. Have a great night. And then Casimir, before you go, thanks very much for stepping in to moderate this debate. I really appreciate it. I'd like to see you do it again in the future if you have time, of course.
It was a lot of fun this time.
Yeah.
Lovely
So,
topic.
and next time I'll give you the controls too. It's just like we couldn't do it this time.
Oh
but
no, not
yeah,
that.
yeah, no, you're gonna get the controls too. But anyway, shout your channel out as well to everybody where they can find you.
Right now, just free Casimir on Twitter. You can find my latest attempts to make memes right there.
Okay, well, you did a good job moderating. I know it's difficult at first, takes a little bit of experience, but you'll get it. So I appreciate it very much, man. Have yourself a great night as well. All right, and then last thing, couple things coming up tomorrow. I have another debate. It's been a whole fucking week of debates for me. And then next week we start on like the regularly scheduled program. You know what I mean? I don't usually do this many fucking debates back to back. It's just been like one challenge after another. So I don't run away from challenges or from things that I find interesting. So always happy to do them. And then Sunday, we have Lunatics on the Internet. That's going to be a great time. That's going to be a fun time, I promise. So make sure you come out for that after you all go to church, of course. And then that's basically it. So from all of us here at the Crucible to all of you out there in Crucible land, have a wonderful night.